Another man done gone. Another man done gone from the county from another.
It's Jax.
man done gone.
What up, Dallas? Let's go.
Martin Luther had a dream, but Freddy Krueger had a Ruger. Ex-Malcolm out the picture, so now we back to the future. Now we back to these losers embracing death like they used to. Poking out they chest, but listen, son, now you leaking that future. So who's the shooter? Is it your man? Or was it a fan? Or was it a stand? Pop would beg to differ. In hindsight, I bet you he said he was not a nigga. Plus Biggie Smalls was just minding his business, yo. Smoking an Optimo. Somebody got to drop the homie Biggie has got to go. And they couldn't stop it, no, I wish that they could. Yeah, the world needs change, but man, I wish that we would. So why the long frown? A man harmed from a 4 pound. His blood ripples on the floor from the war sound. His mama sitting at the wake, hoping the Lord's found. Another dead, another gone now. Damn.
Another man done gone. Another man done gone from the county from another man done gone.
George Eliot said that it's best to be what you wanna be. Fucking do what you wanna do, so I do what I wanna do. Bet you did it to floss, bitch, I did what I wanted. Bet you did it and lost, bitch, I did it and won it. Shit, I'm never coming back. Listen, I just wanna rap. Gee, I told y'all all of that on about a dozen tracks. I don't give a fuck. I just wanna rap. Spitting fire on this track like a fucking thundercat. Plus this mic is bleeding rojo. This shit is a no-no. Rolling in that low-low. Plus I'm from that Baltimore. Need a folk smoking on my logo. Ready for the woe and we so silly with the flow. Somebody got a ropo. Heard the lanes and I swear they so too much love for the fame just to go broke. You said think I had the rap game in the choke card. Now I think I got the whole world in a rope though. Gotta think damn dog, you crazy. Is he the next Jay-Z? My crystal ball is hazy, but I don't know, maybe.
Welcome back to the Insanity Check podcast. It's Chris here, back with another Insanity Check. It's been a fucking crazy ass week, so it's going to be like that. Joining me today, I have a very good friend of mine. I have Tim, People's Critic on Twitter. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Good to be back on, as always.
Yeah, good to have you on, man. Yeah, man, it's been a while. It's been a while since I don't think I've talked to you since we've entered in Trump's America. At least not on the show.
A lot has happened, man, since then. Especially for me, man. I was in the hospital for like 3 days.
What happened?
Back in December. It's a crazy story, man. So I wasn't feeling well. I walked like 2 blocks when I left work, and I was out of breath. I was like, man, why am I out of breath? So I just went to the hospital to check in, and as soon as I got there, they were like, yeah, you're not leaving. And I was like, what's up? And they're like, well, your blood pressure's really high, and I never have high blood pressure. And I was like, okay, well, what's up? Then this kidney specialist comes in, and he's like, yeah, your kidneys are failing. I was like, my kidneys are failing. And he was like, yeah. So we got to keep you and do a biopsy. So they kept me to do a biopsy, and I was there Wednesday. They kept me. Like my biopsy was Saturday. It was Friday, and I left Saturday. And here's the thing: I never felt bad. I didn't feel bad until after the biopsy.
Oh, good
then I
God.
just felt like shit. I was like,
Damn.
this is terrible. And then so before I get discharged, they're like, yeah, you might have to do kidney dialysis, and we want to put a port in you before you leave. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Let's just wait and see what the biopsy says. Then I met with my kidney specialist, and he was like, oh, well, your kidneys are healing. So he was like, you're doing all right. So, but I had to like completely change my diet. Like no sodium. I'm mostly eating fruits and vegetables. I lost like 20 pounds from just clean eating. Like it's been crazy.
Damn.
It's been good though. It's crazy as it has been. It's been good. For people listening, I'm doing fine. My kidneys are great. I keep improving in my checkups. Even like I had a checkup earlier this week. And we were laughing about, he said, man, when I saw you at the hospital, I thought it was a wrap. It was like, this dude, this is all bad. He said, and you've improved. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man, I think, especially now, because it's something that I've been struggling with, it's physical health lately. And taking care of yourself, man, like you get so busy and you get so caught up in everything else around you. Like, we talk about mental health and physical health, but man, like, it's one thing to talk about, it's another thing to actually do it.
Right.
You know, and
here's the thing, they kept asking me about the symptoms, and I had none of them. I didn't have a massive headache, I wasn't peeing blood. I was like, I would have came in if I was peeing blood, obviously.
Yeah, that's a sure sign.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then the scary thing is they start screening you for all the bad shit. It's like cancer screening, HIV screening, all this other stuff, and I was just like, what the hell's happening?
Right,
What's going on? But when all that came back negative, I was like, all right, cool. All right, well, whatever it is, I can handle it. If it ain't none of that, the terrible 3 things that it could be, then I'm good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been crazy. So yeah, changing my diet has been like crazy. And the thing is, I didn't know I had the discipline to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that really struck me. Like, I realized I had a discipline to sort of just eat clean.
Yeah.
And then I realized how much just trash I was eating. And I'm a fairly healthy person, but when you can't eat certain stuff, you realize how much trash you eat all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's been my thing. Like, since I haven't been training as much anymore, I let my diet go again, and I can see it. I can feel it. You know,
you can feel it.
You just feel like I just don't feel like myself. I'm back to having my Achilles problems again because I'm just like it's my diet. And I'm like I gotta change that and get back to what I was. But you're right. It's the discipline of it, and
it's funny because my taste buds have changed. Like, I ate some asparagus the other day and it tasted amazing. I was like, this is so good.
Yo, it's funny.
which,
like
which wouldn't have happened like 2 months ago. I would have been like, come on, this is gross.
Yeah, I mean, like when you start eating right, you start doing things like drinking more water and things like that. There's things that start happening. Like you start eating less, and that's also I realized this when and I've known this before. Like I said, when I was training for fights and things like that, I used to eat really, really well. Now that I'm not anymore, I don't have anything. I don't have a goal I'm going towards. I let myself go, and I'm now seeing that there's certain things I'm doing that I'm like, this is how I know I've gotten off the track. And it's one thing is how much I eat. So it used to be when I was like in training for my fights and stuff like that, and really, really healthy, and eating really, really healthy. If I had a cheat meal, let's say I went to Popeyes, right? Or I would order from I always love ordering my fried chicken from the Chinese places. I'm sorry, but I just do.
Dude, I haven't had fried chicken. Like, there's so much stuff. I've literally had food cravings and like dreams about food.
I've been there. So I used to, when I ordered from the Chinese place, because it was just to get the minimum order, I would always order like five wings and French fries, right? When I'm eating when I'm eating healthy, and I've been eating healthy, I can maybe get 2, maybe 2.5 wings, and I'm done. Like when I'm eating healthy. If I'm not eating healthy like I am now I can eat all 5 wings. So now I've gotten to the point where I can find out when I'm starting to eat right, because I can tell how many wings I can eat in a sitting. How many wings I can eat in a sitting, how much pizza I can eat. Because again, it's like overeating is one of those things you do. And so like once you start eating right, you don't need as much to get as full and get that full feeling anymore. So yeah, man, I could tell that when I would eat an entire platter, and I was like, oh my God, I've gone too far. I've eaten 5 wings and I'm not full. Like, this is a fucking problem. I need to get my shit together. So yeah, man, I'm giving myself until my birthday to really drop everything down again and give myself that month and work my way back in there. Cause I think one of the problems is I started trying to get to where I left off as when I was like at the height of like training and fighting, things like that. I'm like, nope, I got to start all the way from the beginning and then work my way back up to that, because and diet is the most important thing. Doesn't matter how much you're doing, how much working out you're doing. If you're not dieting right, if you're not eating right, if you're eating junk and eating trash, especially as you get older. Like, I turned 35 this year. I can't keep eating that junk. I just can't.
Yeah, it's funny because one of my good homeboys, Marcus, he was going through some stuff with like his digestive system. So we both kind of made this transition at the same time. And we're just having conversations just about how different you feel, how much energy you have. And I don't know. I don't have to see my specialist again until May. And I don't know what he's going to say. Mm-hmm. But part of me is like, I'm going to keep this diet up. Maybe if it's not like full, like maybe 70-30. Because I'm really, like I got off the shower the other day. And listen, and I haven't been working out. Like I've worked out like 5 times since December. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I haven't even worked out yet. And my body is really like toned. Like it's crazy. I feel like Spider-Man. Like that fit. Right. I was looking, it's like, I haven't really worked out. I haven't really, done anything. And yet like I look and I feel different. No. My face feels like it's weird, man. It's so weird. And I had no idea. I was walking around this whole time, and praise God, because I was walking around this whole time. Man, I could have had a stroke. Mm-hmm. I could have had an aneurysm. Like, it could have been whatever. And I think that's when I was in there and I saw sort of the look on the doctor's face. That was their look like, dude, you were just walking around and you could have just.
Right.
And it's funny, man. These people are so crazy. When I was in there, they were treating me like I was some dying, and I wasn't dying. Like, they were like, this lady was like, you're just so young.
Is there someone I can call for you? Like,
yeah. I was like, yeah, I know. But a lot of love from my friends, man. I have friends just pop in the hospital and visit. But I'm always the person who's going to visit people, so it was weird to have people come see me. Mm-hmm. And then one of my good friends, Jessica, the Curly Nerd, from the Curly Nerd podcast, she's great. So I text her like, hey, she's in New York now. She used to live here. She's in New York now. And I text her like, hey, this happened, just to give you a heads up. She was like, I'm sending you something. And I was like, okay. So as soon as I got home, she sent me this prescription for natural healing book, this thick book, man. But it had a whole section on kidneys. And I just been doing what that book said. Like, I'm drinking marshmallow root tea and like, I've turned to that. And the funny thing is, I turned to that person.
That guy now?
Yeah, I'm that guy now, right? Like, I'm reading everything in the store.
Oh,
like, if it's got more than 2% sodium, I can't mess with it. I'm just like, I went with my friend and her daughter, man. We were at the store. Her daughter's 7. She's like, I've known her since she was born. And she was, I knew she cared for me. She was legitimately sad about the foods I couldn't eat. She was like picking up snacks. She was like, Uncle Tim, you can't eat this? I was like, nah. She was like, oh, man, that's messed up. I was like, I know, right? I can't eat any of this stuff. I can't have Gatorade. Like, there's so much stuff that I consumed, like, daily that I just haven't had.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you start being aware of what's in the food you drink and eat and stuff like that, like I said, the thing that is funny you mentioned Gatorade, like, drinks are the thing that sneak up on you. Like,
for sure.
juices, things like, and you know what the really thing is too? It's the things that you think are healthy. Like, people go, oh, just get some Gatorade. I'm like, no, Gatorade is not, no, don't want to do that. No.
Hey, man. My eyes got big as shit when I looked at the Gatorade bottle. I was like, man, I've been drinking this?
Yep.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah, man, we used to, when we used to do fights and stuff like that, the guys would get Gatorade and they were like, yo, I'm like, just drink water. Just drink water, yo. I don't like water. I don't give a fuck if you like water or not. You gotta learn to like water, yo. You gotta do it. You don't want to be drinking Gatorade. That's not good for you. Don't do that. It's yeah, man. But it's also good because it means you also start making your own foods and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been cooking a lot. It's funny, man. I've been cooking a lot more. Mm-hmm. So my sister, I love my sister, man. She's so great. She sent me a crock pot. I've never owned a crock pot, and it's been the best thing ever. Like, I made some chicken broccoli pasta thing in a crock pot the other week. Like, I've just been experimenting with foods, and like last night I had a baked potato and some broccoli. Mm-hmm. And I was, like you said, like, that was enough. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I need more food. I was like, oh,
yeah, like
good.
Yeah. I started again this week trying to do that and getting back to things I wasn't doing. I realized one of the things that about middle of last year I stopped doing was having my protein shake in the morning. Like, I would just make, like, I would take spinach, like cucumbers, some frozen fruit, and then like a scoop of protein powder. And sometimes I either do water or I would do like soy milk or almond milk or something like that, depending on how I felt, and a little dash of honey. And I would have that in the morning, and I stopped doing that. I started doing that again this week, and I was like, that's what I've been missing. Yeah. Like, it's something so small, but I'm like, yo, that's what I've been missing. I have that in the morning, and I get my energy back. I can then go to the gym. I can then do this other stuff. Like, it's just rolling down the hill of me going back to doing what I need to do. And, yeah, man, it's a process, especially as you get older. You just can't eat the foods you used to eat. You can't do the things you used to. And honestly, it's one that you have to take care of your body.
You got to.
And it's an active thing. It's one of those, like, when you were younger, you could just do whatever. But as you get older, you have to actively be aware of what you're putting into your body.
Yeah, I was at a screening. One of the young dudes, he's like young, he's in college. We met up to eat, and he had like chili cheese fries and like a milkshake and a burger, and I was looking at him like, I couldn't even imagine doing that right now. I couldn't imagine it. Like, my body would shut down. Right. It would completely shut down. But he's 20, so he can consume food like that, and it's all good.
It reminds me of the episode, I think it was a week or so ago on Arrow, where Renee is eating this dude. One of the dudes on the show is eating like this. First burger he has is a triple stack burger, and Oliver just looks at him and goes, "That's disgusting." And then like a scene later on, in the episode, he eats a 5 stack, and the other dude's just like, "How can you do that?" And I'm looking at this going, the weird thing about it is, I'm sitting on my couch watching the episode going, "Yeah, dude, what the fuck?" like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you like? You're gonna die. Like, you can't do that. Yeah, man, it's important. And yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was mostly rest. Like when I got out, because like I said, I didn't feel bad till I got out the hospital. But when I got home, it was mostly diet and rest. So I went to visit. I felt terrible. So I went to visit my specialist, and he was like, "Hey, man, can you take the rest of this week off work?" And I said, "Yeah." This is around the time when we went because I saw Rogue One that same week, and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, can you take the rest of this week off and next week?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure I can." He was like, "Yeah, you need to just rest." And I was like, "No, I don't." But once I got home and rested, I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of what I needed. I needed to rest because I was exhausted. Like just getting up and walking downstairs in my house to wash clothes was a lot.
Right.
Like just drained me. Like it was little stuff like that. Walking around my office was what's funny? Like people were like, "Man, you look great." I'm like, "Did I look like shit before? Like, why is everyone telling me how great I look right now?"
So you know what I've noticed? Because like I put on like 20 pounds, right? And I feel it, and because I know where I used to weigh before. I'm like, yo, I need to lose this fucking weight. I need to get back into shape. I'm gonna start working on that. But everybody around me goes, "Oh, what's the fucking problem? You look fine." I'm like, and I can't tell if it's people being nice or people just don't notice. And then when you lose the weight, what I think it is. I think it's when you lose the weight, then people realize to go, "Oh, yeah. I get it now." I don't think people really understand, especially if you're around a person all the time. When they start putting on weight, it's like it's gradual and you don't see it.
Right.
But then when they start losing it, you're like, "Oh yeah, you're like a whole new person." Oh, yeah, I get it now.
Because I've been eating clean, like I just like everything looks healthier about me, my skin, everything. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the weight. It's just my whole everything looks. I have more energy.
And I'm about to say you probably have more energy. You're probably more. You're probably more active. It's just
and I'm thinking clear. Like, it's weird. It's like a whole like huge transformation, and it took me like feeling the worst I think I've ever felt in my entire life to get to this point of like
there's always
feeling
a
like a new person. And it's funny. Like I've had like a not sort of a mental change, but like I don't really put up with a lot of nonsense. Like after I spent 3 days in the hospital and people treated me like I was dying, like the one thing I thought was like I can't die before Black Panther. The other thing was
I think we're all on that. I think we're all on that page, yo.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. I was like, man, this can't happen before that Black Panther come out. Other thing was like, life really is short. Like we're really here for like a very brief moment of time, and I'm someone who's healthy and a good person. I'm not a terrible human being. And yet, here I am in a situation where, it could have gone left. It could have been, I could be on dialysis right now. I could be, it could have been all bad. My kidneys could have actually failed. But then, so with this time I do have, man, I want to do good and be a good person. And I'm really working on doing more. And like yesterday, for instance, I saw this guy, right? Homeless guy. I thought he was asking for money. And in part, something in me, because I've tried to be a better person, something in me was like, well, let's hear what this guy has to say. And he didn't want money. He wanted someone to push him in his wheelchair down to the 7-Eleven. And I was like, oh, I can do that. So I pushed him. And I had to hear him ramble about what the city used to be years ago, which was annoying. And he smelled bad. But I was able to push him down to 7-Eleven. It was cool. And he said thank you, and that was it. So I'm trying to be more, like, not as dismissive. It's been harder in Trump's America. It's been difficult to do. It's been difficult having conversations with people who defend Trump. That's been difficult. But I'm trying to be better about it. I'm trying to, listen and not be angry all the time. So it's been good. Trying to keep my blood pressure down.
Yeah, no, I think that's the important thing. Especially, I'm always using the "in Trump's America" line, but I mean, I think it's important for us to realize, especially as people of color, like, in the day, you gotta like, as when people go, oh, well, it's just don't think about it, or just don't be, and I'm like, well, I can't. Like, and I think so many people don't understand that. Like, whether it's even one is partly with me doing the podcast stuff like that is part of my job, but also just out of that, like, I'll have other people come say that to me, and I'm like, I can't. Like, you realize this is our lot. This affects us. I can't just go, oh, well, I won't pay attention to this. But at the same time, I think that, so it's not that you don't pay attention or you just let it go. You just gotta find your moments to make sure you have time for yourself.
Right.
You know,
yeah, exactly.
And that's what I've been trying to find. I've been trying to find that time to make sure I read my comic books, that I watch my TV shows, that I can lose myself in entertainment when I can. This is part of the reason why I don't live tweet as much anymore, because my feed is so much about other, has so many people talking about other things. I just want to watch a TV show and enjoy it. And
here's the problem you run into. You yourself, Rod and Karen, other people I know who podcast and who have a lot of followers. Like, people find you even when you're not trying to. Like, people will. Like, I see the people you retweet and the people you engage with. They find you, and they say something absurd, and it takes everything in you not to be like, that's dumb. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a stupid thing to say. Yeah. And they feel like I saw you engage with that guy yesterday who just felt like because he followed you, you owed him some sort of compensation.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like no one comes at me like that.
Yeah, like, I can't remember what it was. Oh, I know what it was. I was talking to, at 4:30 it hit, I think, so I was talking about my issue with Logan, and we're having a review out. I'm going to write a review this weekend. We'll have an audio review out next week. Again, real quick, don't think it's a bad movie. If you like the trailers, go see the fucking movie. You'll enjoy it. If you didn't like the trailers, don't go see the movie because it's the trailers. You know, it's just what it is. So I was just explaining, though, like, on a larger scale of the problem I have with Fox in general with how they treat comic book properties in general, which is they strip them away of anything as much as possible of their comic book nature. They take things out that are ridiculous, and I'm just saying, like, that's why we like comic books, though. I like comic books because there's ridiculousness in it. There's action. There's all these things in there. Like, it's like you wouldn't watch Lord of the Rings if they took the fantasy out of it, right? If they took wizards out, if they took hobbits out, and they really grounded Lord of the Rings in an everyday, you wouldn't watch it because it's not Lord of the Rings. It removes its identity. And I'm like, that's the problem I have with these movies. Not saying that anybody, and I think a lot of people that like them because they have this negative opinion of comic books being things for kids.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I blame Christopher Nolan for this.
Yeah.
For the Dark Knight trilogy, right?
Yeah.
It was really good, but really grounded. Yeah. And everyone's not a gifted storyteller the way he is.
Right.
So everyone can't do it. But every now and then someone tries to do it and make that kind of movie, and it just doesn't work.
And people don't understand also that the Dark Knight trilogy was a special case in that it was a direct response to how bad Batman and Robin was. Like, it was an exception and not the rule people are trying to make it. Like, I had people telling me, oh, well, we need R-rated comic book movies. And I'm like, no, we don't, because the comic books themselves generally are not R-rated. Like, you can make a PG-13 Deadpool because, in general, Deadpool's not R-rated. Like, it's made for kids. Same thing with Wolverine. Now, can you take an R rating and make it a more adult story? You can, but it's not necessary for that. And so I was just explaining the whole thing about this, and this person came in my mentions talking about I don't read comic books, and I used to like comic book movies, but I don't like them anymore because they're just action and explosions now. And I was like,
come on, man.
And I was just like, why are you, like, you didn't listen to anything I tweeted right there. And then you came in with this bullshit thing and expect me to have a civil debate with you. I'm like,
and what you're saying just isn't true.
Right.
Like,
And
it's okay if you don't like comic book movies. The part for me where it goes a step further is when you say something that's not factual. And then I have a problem with what you're saying.
Right. I mean, I've gotten to the point where there's going to be people that come to me as soon as Logan comes out in the 4th and be like, I disagree with your review. And I'm like, well, the problem is you're not really disagreeing with me because if I had talked to you, I probably could have told you if you like the film or not. Like, I know from right now, I can tell which of my friends are going to like or not like or going to be in between on Logan right now because I know them. So it's like I know what people are looking for and what they want, And I can tell that. So when I say I did not like Logan, I'm telling people I did not like Logan. And I tell you why I did not like Logan. Now, I can explain to you why you might like it if you tell me, give me enough. So it's just like people want to argue these things. And I'm like, I'm not arguing it. And you didn't listen to anything I said. And just go away. And it was just like, well, I can't believe you're being rude to a follower. I'm like, you're a random person. You're a random person I don't know. And it's going to tie in some things we're going to do later on in this episode. But I'm like 99% sure it was a white woman too. And,
oh no!
Right, and this goes to something that I've seen before, which is you owe me like you expecting people of color to owe you something because you follow them or because you listen to them, and I'm like, I don't owe you a goddamn thing. One, I don't know you, so I've never interacted with you before. You never introduced yourself to me. Your first thing you said to me was something stupid, and now you want me to engage with you because it's like. You don't do that to random people in a store. Like, you don't go up to somebody randomly that you overhear a conversation they're having. Go up to them randomly, start arguing with them, and then expect them to treat you right because you interjected yourself into their comment rudely. I'm like...
simply because you had an opinion, they should, you know...
Oh, well, that's
respect it.
Well, that's what Twitter's for. It's like, no, actually, Twitter's... And you're not following me for debate because when I was saying other things, you didn't offer... any like legit argument. You just made a bullshit statement to me directly. Like you didn't actually have it's a really weird thing that every one of us who's in a public space now has to deal with people who think that you owe them something, like you owe them a discussion or you owe them a debate or that we're here or that even that we're attack dogs to sick on things like that. Like this is why, again, going back to why I don't live tweet as much anymore. Listen, there'll be times when I'm literally in the middle of a rant where I'm live, or I'm talking about how much I love a comic book, or I'm talking about something that's not politics related, and then somebody goes, "Yo, do you see the latest thing from Trump?" And I'm like, "Yo, clearly, I'm not doing that right now.
I'm trying to watch The Flash right now."
Right, I'm trying to watch. I'm literally live tweeting The Flash right now. I'm literally talking about this one thing, and here you are want to bring in this negativity into my timeline because you want to hear my thoughts on it. And then I would be wrong if I flipped off on the person, right? And that's the dilemma I'm in. Because, like, my base reaction to that is, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm talking about the goddamn Flash. Do I look like I'm talking about Trump? Like, I remember when it was something that happened. It was, what was it? It was something Trump did, and it was during the Flash. I can't remember if it was... What the fuck was it? Maybe it was either a press conference or a town hall or something.
Yeah, I think it was that town hall.
It was something like he did like a little rally or something like. And all the stations were going to show it. So I was like, I'm gonna watch The Flash. So I went and watched The Flash and didn't watch whatever it was that Trump was related. And so I had people going, "Oh, are you watching this right now?" And I'm like, "Does it look like I'm watching it right now? I'm literally tweeting about The Flash right now. Why would you like?" It's just like people have no boundaries. When it comes to things like that, like they don't like. If I'm talking to you and on Twitter, like I have a rapport with you, so there's certain things I can do. I don't go up to random people though, like, and that's what they don't understand. They think that, oh well, I follow you, so you're here at my beck and call, and I'm like, that's not how it works. Excuse me. So it's a very weird thing. So something that I've just learned, I got to unplug. You know,
yeah, it's funny. It reminds me of we went to to the Warriors Raptors preseason game. It was up in Vancouver, Canada, and my good friend, his niece dates DeMar DeRozan, and so after the game, he came up to come talk to us, and just thousands of it was like 20 people around him screaming his name, and he has to pretend to not hear them. They're like, DeMar. And he had to sort of made a beeline, came talk to us. And as he's talking, some kid comes up for an autograph. And he was very polite and was like, "Hey, man, I'm talking to some family right now. I'll get to you in a second." But this idea that this kid feels like, even though this person is in a full conversation with 3 people, I can just walk up and stick a paper in your face and want you to sign it or want to take a selfie with you.
Yeah.
Right? It's this entitlement, like, oh, you're a public figure, so I can just approach you at any time and demand your attention because I see you on TV all the time and you're famous. and you make a bunch of money. So that gives me sort of this, and it was such a surreal experience. And we laughed about it afterwards because I was like, man, I couldn't do that.
Right.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I literally watched him like pretend not to hear. People yelling his name annoyed me, and he had to like walk past him like he didn't even see him.
Right. I tell people all the time, like, I don't have the temperament to be famous or in charge of anything. I don't. I just, this is why I'll never be that guy, because I don't have that temperament. Like I said, when I'm dealing with that person yesterday, like, part of me could have just ignored it, but the other part of me was looking. Like, I kept it's sitting in my time. I'm looking at it. I'm just going, this is fucking stupid. Like, why would you say something like this? And it's like, it doesn't even make sense. You used to like comic book movies? Well, what comic book movies did you used to like that were better than the ones today? Like I said, we just did a nostalgia review on X-Men. I was like, did you like X-Men and somehow you don't like Avengers? Like, are we seriously there right now? Like, are we doing that? Like, I don't understand it, man. I just don't get it. And so I'm looking at the tweet. I have all these thoughts rushing through my head, and that's when I just go, this is fucking stupid. Leave me alone. Like, it's just, I can't help myself. Like, I'm not. Yeah, I would be. We were talking about how Trump needs to get people needs to stay off of Twitter and stop responding and things like that. I feel like while I wouldn't be, minus the racism, bigotry, and just stupidity, I would be Trump. Like, they'd be like, oh my God, Chris again. Somebody take his fucking phone. He's fucking yelling at fans again. Oh my God, he just called somebody stupid. Jesus, why didn't somebody take away Chris's phone? Like, that would be me, right? And I'm just like, it's just like, God damn it, somebody's wrong on the internet again. Damn it. So, oh man. All right. I do have a really good first story we're gonna get to. Let me get some stuff out of the way. This show is being sponsored by Susan Berry, the Pool Law Firm, which is located in Silver Spring, Maryland. Susan Berry and Troy Poole are excellent attorneys in the Maryland, D.C. area. They are from the D.C. Maryland area, so if you're in the DMV, please check them out. The Poole Law Firm handles criminal law, family law, and personal injury. So if you need an attorney or you want to know more, head over to the wonderful website. It's www.thepoollawfirm.com. That's pool with an E, P-O-O-L-E, lawfirm.com. The number's 301-585-3014. Also, check out tweakedaudio.com for any earbuds and headphones. Put the code in reviews and get 33% off, free shipping and free lifetime warranty. They also have Bluetooth earphones now. So, again, if you have that iPhone 7 that doesn't have an earphone jack, tweakedaudio.com. Free warranty, free lifetime shipping. So check them out there. And also the biggest way to support the show is obviously and always will be the premium accounts. Sign up for a premium membership. And right now, again, starting next month, I believe there's a Doctor Who special that we're putting out soon.
I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be on premium. And I know next month starts, we're having Star Wars Rebels, another show going to be starting, and possibly another show centering black women also coming to NTR Premium soon. So please help that out. And again, if you want to know where the money's going to, one of the things the money is going to, I just bought 3 new mixers to give to some of the hosts of these other shows so that they can actually put out, not just do shows, but put out good quality shows. So that's where some of the money goes to. So again, the more people that sign up, the more we can do with that, and looking forward to that. And I'm also looking to use some of that money to update the site come April, and really start changing your links to mtrnetwork.net, because we're going to start slowly moving away from movietrailerreviews.net to MTR Network, because like I said, at this point we cover so much stuff. I got D-Palm now doing 2 sports episodes a week, which I just want to say right now, I put it in the newsletter, I did not force this on him.
His show's good though.
Oh no, listen, I love the unanimous decision. I think D-Palm's doing a really great job. He's doing a limited run of, quote, limited run of 2 episodes a week now for the road to WrestleMania. Listen, guys, he's going to keep doing it. Yeah, he's going to keep doing it.
I felt so bad for D-Palm after the Super Bowl. I felt so bad for him. I was like, he's got to get on the podcast and talk about this. That's the worst part. You sort of reliving the pain one more time.
Right. But he's also an Atlanta Hawk fan, so I guess it's kind of built in, right?
Just disappointment every year, huh?
He's gonna tweet me about that one. I just want to say, his Road to WrestleMania stuff. We're dropping the episodes on Friday up until WrestleMania. And again, I did not force this on him. He asked for this. All right. I want people to know I'm not holding D-Palm hostage doing all of these shows. He asked to do this, and I'm telling you, he's saying it's gonna stop at WrestleMania. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sure. Okay. All right. Hey, listen. He wants to put a show out. I don't stop him. All right. This is free will, man. Free will. Free will. I'm De Niro in Devil's Advocate, yo. I'm like, oh no, you're gonna be asking me. They're gonna give it to you. That's what he's doing, yo. So
I enjoy hearing you guys talk about Warner Brothers and Fox.
Oh man,
but it made me think like, what's actually going on over Warner Brothers? I mean, outside of all of the sort of the DC comic stuff, it looks bad. So they've got King Kong coming up, which may not be good.
Yeah,
They've got a Chips reboot. They've got that Katherine Heigl, Rosario Dawson movie, Unforgettable.
It's gonna be forgettable.
Yeah, King Arthur. Hopefully, King Arthur's good.
Come on, man. Really, I saw that. I was just like,
there's hope.
Out of everything you just listed right there, Kong, Skull Island is the one that stands out the most to me right now. Like, that's the one I think is their only hope. Because of everything else you just listed, I'm like, not gonna be good.
But this was because I was reading this book about blockbusters, and it was talking about Warner Brothers sort of taking this mantle of like having all these big tentpole movies, right? Mm-hmm. But when I thought about it, if you took out all the Harry Potter movies and took out all the Christopher Nolan movies, they're kind of left with a lot of trash.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Christopher Nolan, we're including like The Dark Knight and Inception and all that. So rest of this year, they've got another Christopher Nolan movie in Dunkirk,
which I think will be good.
That's the hit. Yeah. Annabelle 2, It, Blade Runner, and then Justice League at the end of the year. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know, because you look at Disney and it's the opposite.
Right.
I'm looking at Disney. I'm like, they've got like $8 billion franchise.
Like they start with we were just talking about this. Beauty and the Beast comes out soon.
Oh yeah,
Like, okay, like the road to $1 billion it starts now.
The road, yeah. Then you got Guardians. You still got another Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. You still got Thor 2. You still have. I know I'm missing a bunch of. There's some anime stuff they're doing. Like, yeah. It's just it's like the opposite. The came out about what they're doing with the Lion King. Yeah.
I just looked it up. Cause I was like, I think this film is one of the Warner Brothers film. Jupiter Ascending. It was.
Oh gosh, I hated that movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, when we talked about this on the show, when as much as I talk about people, I talk about X-Men and not liking those movies. I said, you give me a choice between WB and Fox to do a movie with, I'm doing Fox. Like, because they at least give you the space to make your movie. Like, hey, I might not like Logan. Just like I didn't really like the Wolverine. But they're James Mangold's movies. Right. They're what he wanted to make, and he was allowed to make his movie. Like, there was even the talk about how Fox was worried that the film was going to be too boring. Yeah. And it was too much of a Western. But they trusted the director to make that movie for them. And you know what? Hey, my opinion aside, looks like it's going to work out for them, right? And so they took that risk. Same thing that happened with Deadpool. They didn't want to do Deadpool. They finally trusted in Ryan Reynolds and who was the director of that?
I'm forgetting his name because
he left it. But it's like they trusted them to make that movie, and it turned out big for them. It's like, so Fox has learned to trust their people. Warner Brothers across the board. Again, we talk about DC, and I know in that film we were talking about in relation to comic book movies, but that the reason why I always believe that letter that came out, I think it was last year after one about the rap, was because it wasn't just focused on the DC universe. It said across the board, Warner Brothers is a mess. Like they had their that Peter Pan stuff. They had remember, people forget they have a Jungle Book movie coming out themselves.
Yeah.
But by the time it comes out, Jungle Book 2 might be already out from Disney. Disney made $1 billion off of the first Jungle Book. Warner Brothers had to delay theirs and take until next year. Bro, who's gonna watch that?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this is, to me, Warner Brothers has the same problem Sony had.
Right.
But Warner Brothers can get away with it because I think their movies still make enough money.
And they do enough with these smaller comedies like The Nice Guys and Central Intelligence and Fist Fight.
Right.
And
Which,
Keanu,
by the way, I love Fist Fight.
To sort of sustain them.
Right.
And then Creed did well.
Right.
But then they're going to have a movie like Pan that doesn't do well. Or something like The 33 and Into the Heart of the Sea and Point Break. Like, these movies just don't do well.
You know what
like
it is?
Said, Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, you know what it is with Warner Brothers? It's like, when they fail spectacularly.
Oh, yeah. They're big
That's
flops.
what it is. Like, the two Amazing Spider-Man films weren't bad films. Like, they weren't huge flops for Sony, but Sony was like, yo, we got to write the shit. We didn't do it right. And they went out and they made those changes. Warner Brothers is just, again, and none of their films are failures. Like, that's why, hey, listen, I, again, don't like BVS. I think it should have done $1 billion, didn't do it. It still made almost $900 million. That is a successful film. Whether we talk, we're not talking about critical success, financially, which is what Warner Brothers cares about. Financial success. Suicide Squad, financial success. Tell you right now, Wonder Woman, financial success. Justice League, financial success. They will.
But I worry that, because you're seeing directors leave projects and Ben Affleck's talking about he don't want to be Batman anymore, that you start to really lose a lot of the pieces necessary for making these things financially successful.
Oh, I think they will. I think the films this year will be financial success because of the names attached to them. Here's the problem, and this is what I fear with Warner Brothers. And fucking, I'm glad we're talking about this, man. I'm here talking about another critic and stuff like that. I gotta talk with Deep Home all the time, so I love having these conversations because we can talk about these things before we get into the heavier shit. I worry about things like Aquaman, and here's why I'm worried about Aquaman. Because Aquaman doesn't have the same name. Aquaman is going to be the real test for Warner Brothers because it doesn't have the name attached to it that other films did. Even Suicide Squad had Batman attached to it and had Batman like characters attached to it and Joker. So it's like it still fell under that name recognition thing. Wonder Woman, again, first major superhero female superhero character getting a solo film. Catwoman doesn't count because it's fucking Catwoman. Right. But again, it's gonna make the money and mask the real problems because no matter what happens, it's fucking Wonder Woman. We're all gonna go see it. Right? We're all gonna go see it at least once. Justice League, again, same thing. It's like no matter how bad Wonder Woman is, we're all still gonna go see just because it's the fucking Justice League. But next year's Aquaman. It's fucking Aquaman.
Next year's supposed to be The Flash.
Like, it's Aquaman. Like, Aquaman is known for the jokes we make about Aquaman on Family Guy. Now, I'm not saying that that's, like, there's more to the character and it can be interesting character, but that name recognition and the desire to see that movie isn't going to be the same as Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman, right?
Right.
And so, it's kind of like and unlike Marvel, who earned the right to get us into the theater to see, a talking tree and a talking raccoon, or to see a man who shrinks to the size of ants and runs with ants, or to see Doctor fucking Strange. They earned that right to get there. And you got to remember, Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, whilst financial successes, also didn't make a shit ton of money, but they didn't have to. They did what they had to do, but they were lower name recognitions, so obviously they made less money. Like Ant-Man made $519 million at the box office. All right, let me see. Doctor Strange, I think, is just above that. It might be like 600. Box office. Yeah, Doctor Strange, $673 million. All right. If you had told me years ago that Doctor Strange would make that much money or Ant-Man would make that much money, I'd have been like, you're out of fucking mind. Remember, I think the budget for Ant-Man with the lowest they ever had, $120 million. Or maybe even lower. So not bad for that film, and it's actually pretty good for that character that doesn't have that name recognition. But would either of those films have made as much if Marvel had a string of critical failures at the box office?
Right.
Or critically reviewed failures. And that stigma of this might not be good. No. So if Wonder Woman is not a critical success, if Justice League is not a critical success, you get that Aquaman film is anybody going to have that trust? People who are like, I'm not really an Aquaman fan. I don't know much about Aquaman. I'm not going to see it. Are they going to go to the theater and see it? The answer is no. Right. And that's when you start seeing that drop off happen. You know, when you get something like Cyborg, or they're struggling with the Flash right now, because I think the biggest struggle with the Flash is you're going to have shit, and if they don't do it, if they push it back another year, you'll get 4 seasons of the fucking Flash on TV.
Right.
If that movie and that trailer doesn't excite people like the TV show does, next week the Flash on TV goes to Gorilla fucking City for 2 episodes. All right? If the movie can't get you excited for that, people aren't going to go. Why would I go to pay to see that in the theater when I get it every week in my home for free? You know?
Yeah, for free.
That is.
Are they going to start losing people if the project takes forever to get off the ground?
And they said they were getting Matt Reeves, who's doing War of the Planet of the Apes this year, and I was like, okay, not a bad replacement for Ben Affleck. And then a couple days later, no, he's not going to take it.
Right.
You know, and it's like, okay, you've lost Ben Affleck, you've lost Matt Reeves, you've lost some really great directors for the Flash. Yeah, there's problems here. Yeah, that matters, and at some point, your reputation is going to catch up to you. You know,
and it's funny because it's not like Disney. Right? So Ava DuVernay goes in to do Black Panther. They don't agree on Black Panther, but Disney brings her back in for A Wrinkle in Time.
Mm-hmm.
Then
right.
you get Then you get Donald Glover, who does Star Wars, and all of a sudden now he's in Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're keeping it all together,
right?
Which I love to see.
Yeah, like Disney brought people in for Black Panther. Brought Ava, and they wanted Ava. It was like, oh, well, you know, I don't think it's going to be a good fit for me. Got her a Wrinkle in Time. You know, then they were like, well, we still got to get a good, and people were worried. We're like, okay, well, let's get Ryan Coogler, you know, and people were like, okay, good job. Like, it's just, like, they know who to get, and they're not just thinking, like, what worried about me about this whole thing about Mel Gibson is like, you're trying to go for a name.
Yeah, you're trying to go for a name.
You're trying to go for a name. Disney hasn't really gone for a name, you know. Like these, yeah. Not saying that people didn't know Duvernay or Coogler, but these are still people that are still that were never trusted with these big blockbusters before. They should have been, but they didn't, and they're going after them and saying, "We're going to give you that. We're going to trust you with one of the most important films in our fucking franchise." And going into in phase 3, and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna make it for us. Think about what they did with like we talk about how great Winter Soldier and Civil War were. Yo, the Russo brothers, what did they do before that? like
television.
We look at it now. We're like, oh man, the Russo brothers are doing Infinity War. Of course, man, that's a great choice. But thinking back to when they first were announced, we're like, the Russo brothers, really?
Right.
The comedy guys from TV. They're gonna do it. Look at what they gave us. Josh Whedon. I'm old enough to remember when Josh Whedon getting the first Avengers movie was a. They're gonna go with that guy, the guy who gets his TV shows canceled on TV. Like they go for people that fit. They have a vision, and they go, hey, what do you think about this vision? Can we do this?
And they end up having a great. I think the part that really strikes me is the kind of working relationship they have with people.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you talking about how much they love Lupita Nyong'o, and after 12 Years a Slave, she's been in like 6 Disney properties.
Oh, listen,
Star Wars, Jungle Book, Queen of Katwe.
look,
Black Panther. Like
it was one of those things where I remember after she had 12 Years a Slave and got and the Academy Award and stuff like that. People were talking about, well, see, this is what they do with black women of color. They don't give them, and I was like, you're right. They don't give them the opportunity to do this. Disney was like, oh yeah, let's scoop her up. They scooped her up and they held on to her. They literally held on to her and kept her busy until they could get Black Panther. And I told people this when D23 came out. I was like, guys, they haven't announced it. She's gonna be in Black Panther. Because she was literally on stage at D23 in this one in their movie preview time, like 4 fucking times. Like every time they announced a movie, Lupita was coming on, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, like they have the biggest black superhero film coming out of all time.
Right.
They're going to put her in that fucking film. There's no way they don't put her in that film because they're holding on to her for this time. So they get her doing all these other things. And not only that, but they get her doing different things. So I remember when people were complaining about her doing the character in Star Wars and it not being, it was CG. I'm like, yeah, but she wanted to do that and gives her an opportunity to do a CG character. Then she's also done voice acting for Jungle Book. And then she actually got to be a lead in, a supporting actress in Queen of Katwe, which I honestly think, I'm still kind of pissed, it kind of got overlooked in her awards season for that.
It's a great movie.
It's a fucking great movie. But like she got to be able to do 3 different things. And that's something that is typically reserved for white women in the industry. They don't get to do and try different roles. Like her role in Queen of Katwe is so much different than the role she plays in Star Wars and what she's doing in Jungle Book, and they all require different things. And in Star Wars, she had to literally put on like the motion capture stuff to get the facial features of her character. In Jungle Book, she was just doing voice. As a matter of fact, he was talking about how they didn't have to meet the rest of the cast in order to do that. And then in Queen of Katwe, she's literally there, acting her ass off in those scenes. It's like she got to do 3 different things all for the same fucking company. And now she's going to be in Black Panther. It's just like you don't see that with other studios, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing Disney do there. And they give people an opportunity to do what they want. And I'm just not seeing that with Warner Brothers. Like you're seeing them hold some of these actors and actresses up, but this, like especially with this Flash film, you've cast them, but you don't even have a script. You don't even have a director. Like how are you casting for these things and don't have either one of these things? Like I don't understand. It's like they put in the cart before the horse so many times. And yeah, man. Like again, we focus on the comic book movie stuff, but I think across the board, man, Warner Brothers has some problems.
Oh, for sure.
Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing Kong Skull Island, but I don't think it's going to be good.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to it as well. But they keep releasing clips from the movie. I'm like, why are you guys releasing so many clips? Oh my god,
right, dude. Like that's been my thing. I'm like, and it's not like say Guardians. Like I think the last Guardians, like when Guardians did their Super Bowl stuff, somebody was complaining about them showing too much movie, and James Gunn was like, "There's 3 seconds of new footage in this." He's like, all we did was all we've done is recut the same trailer over and over again. And if you look at Marvel's trailers, that's really what they do. They recut the same thing. I'll give Logan this. Same thing. You get the tone of the movie, but they've recut the same thing over and over again and didn't show you too much. That's what you got to do. Warner Brothers is still out here trying to show you the entire fucking movie.
Inviting people on set to report about it. Like, it's just dumb.
Come on, man.
So dumb.
It's just so fucking stupid. This actually goes into a nice little thing that I was going to bring up here. This is basically you should have just listened to fucking Black People because we told you news. Oh, wait, hold on. Didn't copy the whole, trying to copy the link in here. Hold on, technical difficulties.
Listen to Black People because you told me news sounds like a great segment.
Yeah. It's Black TV shows are increasingly drawing substantial non-black viewership according to a new Nielsen study.
Oh.
And in case it wasn't already obvious, per a new Nielsen study, African Americans have significant influence on mainstream America. Go figure. Specifically, the study states that several television and cable TV programs with predominantly black casts and main storylines focused on black characters are drawing substantial non-black viewership. Well, this isn't the first time a TV program with a black lead has drawn a non-black audience. Think The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, and The Cosby Show. What Nielsen says is unusual this time is the sheer number of black TV shows or shows with black leads with cross-cultural appeal. Blackish, The Secrets and Lies, How to Get Away with Murder, Pitch, Rosewood, Insecure, and Atlanta all average more than 50% non-black viewership. Specifically, with 89% non-black viewership, This Is Us, NBC's Golden Globe-nominated ensemble drama includes Sterling K. Brown, a black businessman raised by white parents, and tackles topics such as drug addiction, racism, homosexuality, alcoholism, adoption, obesity, and cancer. ABC's sitcom Blackish follows a father and husband, Anthony Anderson, who's trying to create a sense of black cultural identity for his affluent family of 6 and has 79% non-black viewership. Tracee Ellis Ross, who plays his wife, won the Best Actress in the Comedy Series for a Golden Globe for a role this year. 75% of viewership of Secrets and Lies, the ABC crime drama that revolves around the biracial hair Michael Ealy to a Charlotte, North Carolina equity firm and the murder of his wife, are non-black. ABC's hit Shonda Rhimes drama How to Get Away with Murder, starring Viola Davis as a criminal defense professor who gets entangled in a murder plot, drives 79% non-black viewership. I think 68% for Scandal. Yeah. Let's see, half of the viewership of Donald Glover's FX series Atlanta is non-black. The show is created and starring Donald Glover. Centers on two black cousins navigating their Atlanta rap scene. So basically, it's amazing that if you watch black shows, it's almost like you're watching a slice of America.
Right. It's funny, most of the conversations I've had about Atlanta were with white people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and I have plenty of black friends, but most of the conversations about it were with white people who love the show. Mm-hmm. It's not a surprise to us at all.
Well, I mean, what drives me crazy about this stuff is, like, what do you think we've had to do?
Right?
Like when there's only white TV shows on, we have nothing else to watch. We watch it, but you give us shows that the black experience is the American experience. It's like if you can watch it and still enjoy it. Like, just because it's black people doesn't mean it's got to be different. Doesn't mean there's any, like, it's just one of those things that, you can watch this stuff and it'd be good. But I'm glad to see, the recognition coming now, because it's not just TV. We're seeing it in movies too. You have all these, like, people are, it's good to see the list of recognition and Oscar nominees for Best Picture, for actor and actress, and things like that this year, and see the diversity there. Well, at least the black people diversity there, because they still need to work. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah, there's still more work to do.
There's still way more work to do. But it's like, yeah, you can watch a show or watch a movie that has a predominantly non-white cast, and it can be good, and you can still enjoy it, even if you aren't from that culture. Ask any non-black person why we enjoy some of these other shows. Like, come on. Like, most of our shows growing up had white people as leads, and we still enjoyed them because if it's good, it's good, So, right. Yeah, it's nice to see that white people are actually enjoying these things. The only thing I'll say now is, okay, cool. It's not just black people. We should be able to get things with Latinos and Asians and Native Americans. Like, these are things. It just, diversity and inclusion shouldn't be something you have to work for.
Right, exactly. Have you ever watched Pitch?
No.
Well, I initially watched because Kylie Bunbury is fine, but so I watched the show. But it's I'm being honest.
Hey, listen, you gotta do what you gotta do, brother.
But it's pretty diverse. Like, they've got like a Latino lead in it, and like her assistant's Asian, and it's really about a woman going to work in a very male dominated industry. Mm-hmm. As she's a pitcher in the Major League Baseball, and it's great. And that's what draws people. Like, you can watch the show.
That's what that show is. I remember seeing the trailers for that. Oh, I'm glad that show's doing well. Cause I saw the trailers for that. I mean, again, I don't watch a lot of, outside of the superhero stuff, I don't watch a lot of regular TV. I just don't. I don't have time for it. But I'm glad that show's doing well. Cause yeah. Oh man. All right. Cool. I'm glad.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know if it's been renewed yet. I know they're trying to get it renewed right now.
Okay.
Hopefully it gets renewed. But Fox, that's the thing I hate about Fox. Like, they just give up on shows.
Yeah.
You'll like a show, you'll look up and it'll be canceled.
People keep asking me if I'm going to watch Legion. I'm like, I'm just going to wait until it's 8 episodes and then we'll see what happens. I don't get personally attached to anything on Fox. Ever since, what was it, Almost Human?
I was about to say Almost Human, yeah.
Almost Human broke me, yo. Like, I thought finally we had gotten over this hump with Fox, so I had known. Like, I had been prepared for this. So I was like, no, they're not going to do this Almost Human. I'm back. I came back, and then they canceled it. I was like, son of a bitch. And that shit was good, man. I really loved Almost Human. Yeah, but no, I mean, this is a good thing. It's why I like sci-fi shows. Like, I'm watching The Expanse. And The Expanse has a very diverse cast. Like, I was looking at the show, I'm like, yo, I don't know, is there a white person on this show? Like it's one of those shows where you're like, shit, is there a white person here? Like, and it not only is the show very diverse, it is very the female characters are done very well in the fact that they're more than just there to boost up the male character or for their sexuality. Like I love them. Like they the deputy undersecretary, she's basically ruthless, but it's not, she's an older woman and it's not sex related. They have a new one of the Marines now, the gunnery sergeant. She's an Asian woman, and like it's just they're all. But my favorite is what's her name? Dominique Tipper. She plays Naomi on the show, and black woman, and she's fine as shit too. Again, I'm not gonna lie, that's what drew me to the show. But she's a great character. She's a great character on the show, and again for all of them, it's about their leadership. It's about their personality and their sexuality. If it even comes up, it's totally secondary to it. Like, not this last episode. I haven't watched the last episode of The Expanse, but there's one episode I was worried because this season they have her kind of in a relationship with the main character, one of the main characters, the white guy, and I was worried because I'm like, oh man, like when he disagrees on something, is she gonna just follow him because they're in a sexual relationship now? So they were arguing over. They were talking about one of these characters killed another character. And he's like really upset about it. It's like, shouldn't have done that. She goes, well, I kind of agree with him. He was a mass murderer, so, it is what. It's like, wait, but you should agree with him. She was like, no, I don't. And then she, like the rest of the episode, she goes off, she plays ball, she goes dancing, like she goes get a drink. Like she would have lived her life while he's over here stewing about this shit. And I was just like, all right, cool, I can deal with this, yo. Like, It's like, it makes her own character. And I don't know, man. It's just one of the things. It goes back to everything. It's like when you have inclusion of different races, different sexualities, genders, and all this. Like it makes a show better. It makes it more interesting because not only is it interesting for you, but you get different viewpoints, and you bring more people in, right? I mean, like,
and it's also more representative of real life,
right? Like here's the thing: would How to Get Away with Murder to be as successful if it wasn't Viola Davis? Because you're getting 69% non-black viewership, but would you get the black viewership if it wasn't? Right. Would you get some of these things? And some of the things, I think no. So by doing this, you're bringing in, you're bringing in these other groups and allowing them to see themselves, and you're getting new followers. You're getting new viewers. Yeah, you might lose some people, but for the most part, you're bringing in new people and say, fuck it. So,
yeah. Good. I'm glad. I hope these shows, I think we're going to get more shows. I think we're going to get more people, more networks taking chances and not afraid to be diverse because now these shows are successful.
Yeah.
Because it used to be this myth that like, oh, we can't sell a show with a diverse cast, or if you have a black female lead, it won't work.
Mm-hmm. Can't do that no more. You can't say that no more. You just
can't say it anymore.
You just can't. You can't say it. So, all right. Next thing, let's move on. More ridiculous. Well, not this. That stuff wasn't ridiculous, but we're gonna start slowly easing into our ridiculousness.
Okay, I'm prepared.
So apparently, Kyrie Irving is a flat Earth truther.
I saw that, man. I like Kyrie too.
Listen, I am not convinced that Uncle Drew ain't trolling everybody here, yo. I'm gonna play this.
What did he say? Because I didn't even hear the clip.
I got the clip.
People
so
climbing
let me get this.
Do I believe the Earth is round?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You believe the Earth is round?
Yes, but I heard the new one that the Earth.
There's no new one. There is no new one.
Okay, I heard some crazy.
Do you believe that we are? Do you believe? Do you believe?
This is gonna sound crazy. Ben Diggles, this is a shout out to you. He came to us and he listens to super conspiracy theory guy.
This is not even conspiracy.
The Earth is flat.
Yeah, no, the Earth is flat.
Oh, here we go.
That's Cleveland Cavaliers all-star guard Kyrie Irving telling his teammates Richard Jefferson and Shannon Fry that he believes the Earth is flat. Uncle Drew doubled down on his comments on Friday in New Orleans, and if you thought he was joking earlier, this confirms he is definitely serious. Take a listen.
I think people should do their own research, man, and then hopefully they'll either back my belief or they'll kind of throw it in the water. I think it's interesting for people to find out.
You've seen pictures of the planet, though, right? Like it's a circle. So
I've seen a lot of things that have that my educational system has said that was real and turned out to be completely fake. So I mean, I don't mind going against the grain in terms of my thoughts and what I believe.
Like I said on Twitter yesterday, Warriors in 6. That's right. When I heard that, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Warriors in 6.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm still not convinced this isn't the world's greatest troll. It has to be. Like, it's gotta be. I am taking the position. Like, if I'm gonna bet on anything, I'm betting on this being a troll, and I salute him for it because fucking why not? Like, here's my thing. Hey, look, if Donald Trump can be president and talk about alternative facts, I'm gonna let Kyrie Irving cook on the on the Earth is flat, yo.
What is people's obsession with the Earth being flat?
I didn't know this is true. I didn't know this is a thing because
it's a thing. The flat earthers.
Yeah, I didn't know flat earthers were a thing until like it was like a couple years ago. Was it like some rapper like
B.O.B.
B.O.B. Yeah, came out and was on some flat earth, and I was like, this nigga serious? And he really is. Like, flat earthers are like, and you know what? Here's the thing: in Trump's America, why not?
Right?
Why not?
So I guess if you're saying the Earth is flat, you're saying everything we've seen from NASA is a lie. The moon landing is a lie. It's all a lie. Is what apparently is the connection. I guess that none of this is true. That we live on a flat Earth. But why would people hide that? Like, why? If we went to space, we know people have gone to space. Why would they just not say, "Oh, hey, look, we went to space and realized the Earth is flat"? Like, there's nothing to lose there. You're just saying the Earth is flat. But this idea that they're like, "Oh, it's got to be round" because someone believed it one time, and we're all peddling that same lie. It just seems ridiculous. It seems ridiculous.
Like this is amazing. Like this is wait. There's something in the Atlantic in defense of flat earthers.
What I want to see is that first interaction between LeBron and Kyrie after he made that dumb
statement. So apparently LeBron was on some. Listen, like he's my friend. He believes what he believes. But you know what? Here's the thing. LeBron's response makes me think this is all a troll. Right. Like, it makes me think like all of this is a troll because come on, bruh. Come on. Like really?
It's like being in a barbershop and they say wild stuff in there and you got to just be like, yeah, he's my barber. It's cool. You know, he cuts my hair. He does a good job. When they're in there, you know, spewing some of these conspiracy theories that are crazier than the flat earth stuff. Mm-hmm. We've all heard crazy stuff in a barbershop.
My man, like I'm looking at, this is from the Atlantic, I think from 2016. And it's like going over B.O.B.'s tweets and stuff like that when he's talking about it being flat. So he took a picture. He said, the cities in the background are approximately 16 miles apart. Where's the curve? Please explain this.
Oh, gosh.
No matter how high in elevation you are, the horizon is always eye level. Sorry, cadets. I didn't want to believe it either.
Wow. All right, Kyrie. Yeah. Listen, man, here's the thing. The internet is ruthless. He better not get hurt, and he better not have a bad game in the finals because they're going to pile on him. There's going to be all kind of flat earth memes with him.
Like this
be a wrap.
They've already started. They already started because you know he was on that. He had that boat with a white woman, right?
Yeah.
And so people were always like, "Well, you know, Kyrie already likes things that are flat," and I was just like, come on, bro, come on, man."
But you know how the internet is, man. They're gonna put it in their back pocket and be like, "You said some dumb stuff All-Star Weekend, and it will resurface in June. it'll be new again." Yeah, I guess, man. I don't know why people care so much. Like, but listen, if I'm honest, man, I love a good conspiracy theory.
I do too. I mean, a good one. I need a good one though. Like,
yeah, I just found out last year that they said that Paul McCartney had died in the Beatles and they replaced him when they were. I didn't know that was a conspiracy. He like died in a car crash and he was replaced early on, so the Paul McCartney we know isn't really him; it's some other guy.
This is so good, yo.
Like I read about it. So me and my coworker we had this whole conspiracy theory discussion. It was like moon landing and all the other stuff. But then that came up, and I was like, "That's a conspiracy." And they were like, "Yeah," and it's a ton of stories out there, people believing that that's not Paul McCartney.
You know what the crazy thing is? Like, I would take the moon landing conspiracy over this. Like, you could again. I am not a moon landing conspiracist.
Yeah, you're not that person.
I'm not that person, but Like, you can make a better argument for that than you could for flat Earth. Cause, nigga, come on, man, come on. Oh my God! Like when I saw this, and again, when I saw him talking in the interview and saw the video, like I could see a smirk on his face. Like again, guys, don't be surprised if he comes back out later on and tells you he was trolling the fuck out of you guys.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
well, here's the thing. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. If I was rich like them, nigga, I would believe all of it. I would do this.
Wealth allows you to have all kind of conspiracies.
I would do that. Like I would, nigga. And look, the minute I become rich, I'm believing every conspiracy theory out there, and I'm gonna push it to see how far I can get.
Right.
How many people I can get to believe me? I like. How do you think we got Scientology? Like, bro, you can do this.
I think we got Trump as a president.
Right. I mean, come on. Like, why not? Like, being rich affords one of the privileges. I think one of the underrated privileges of being rich is the ability to believe in conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Not only believe them, like research them, and
right.
like fully immerse yourself in whatever conspiracy you want to believe in.
Dude, I'm doing it. I'm so doing it. I'm so doing that. If I ever become rich, if I ever become that guy, I'm becoming that guy. I'm fully going in. I'm all in, yo. I'm all in.
Conspiracy theory, Chris, and just have a whole new podcast.
Right.
Just discuss the wildest conspiracy theories.
Jet fuel doesn't burn steel. Like I'm
God.
that guy.
Yeah, like Pete Carroll's one. He's the whole 9/11 thing that they don't like to talk about.
Serious?
Oh, you didn't know that?
Mm.
Oh yeah, man. Pete Carroll's he's a bit of a 9/11 truther.
Oh man, I did not know this.
Yeah, man, it's pretty good. Yeah, he's one of those people.
Oh,
you're gonna turn to Alex Jones all of a sudden.
Oh my God, yo! Listen, no, I can't be Alex Jones because I'm not a crazy person. All right?
Alex Jones is like part conspiracy theorist, part like WWE like villain. Like, an absolute crazy person.
Like I feel like Alex Jones is literally trying to be Mr. Glass from Unbreakable. Like he's waiting for the villain. He's waiting for his hero to show up because he's really trying to be a super villain, but he has no one to take him out. Like Alex Jones is fucking insane.
He starts yelling and shaking. I keep waiting for him to transform into something.
Bruh,
like, what do you have to do? Why is there spit? Why is your face red? Yeah. Oh man, he's the best.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm reading this. Yeah. Pete Carroll definitely is a 9/11 truth. God damn it, man. Yeah, man. I feel like yeah, man. I feel like if you if you're a rich guy, man, like you can afford it, man. Why the fuck? Like, you know what? Good for you, Kyrie. Good for you. Good for you. Like yes, do that, sir. Believe in the flag.
He has a flat Earth and boat party that he invites people to.
He said, yeah, right.
All the flat butts here on my boat.
Is in the rural flat butt party. Come on out.
I was disappointed in what I saw at his boat party.
Yeah, no, I was too. Like, come on, bro.
I was like, come here, Kyrie Irving. What are you doing, man? Come on. You just won a championship.
You deserve right. You deserve better.
Yeah.
You deserve better than this, man. Come on. Speaking of,
be disappointed. He's got to be like, come on, man. I'm
young fella. Yeah, LeBron's like, look, man. I can't do this. You got to do it, man. This is because LeBron. What I love about it is LeBron did his own boat party with all the married folks. And they had
Carmelo and
the plumbers fix thing.
Yeah, man. And you know what? Good for him, man. I was like, hey, you know what? You got to when I think this is a problem that when I saw LeBron did that, I was like, this is a smart thing, and this is why so many celebrities fail at their marriages and things like that, because they're like, you know, this once you start having a girlfriend, once you start getting in a relationship, you can't do the same things you did when you were single.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't hang out with the same people. You can't do the same thing. So LeBron immediately saw that, was like, nope, I got to hang out with my boys. If I'm going to hang out with my boys, they got to be my married boys, and they got to bring their wives. That's what he did. And and you know what? They had a great fucking time. You know? That's what you got to fucking do, man.
Yeah, I couldn't see LeBron telling Savannah, like, yeah, it's about to be me and Kyrie and a couple and Tristan Thompson. going to Miami for a boat party, and she would be like, "Okay, well, let me pack my bag."
Right. When we going?
When are we leave? When's our flight?
Right.
When are we leaving?
When are we going? Like, no, man. Like, you can't. And I think that's the problem with so many of these guys is they go out there and they want to live the life they lived. Now they got the money, they want to live the life like they ain't tied down. And I'm like, that's fine. Then you can't have a girlfriend. You can't have a wife.
Be like Jeter, right? Jeter was the ultimate playboy.
Right.
Got out and got married and is having a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Dude turned into like a dad.
That's what you got. Yeah, you got to do that. And you know what? That's kind of what I've been seeing from LeBron, yo. You know, the LeBron when he goes to his kid's basketball game. Like, you got to do that shit, man. Like, suck it up, man. Suck it up. So, staying with sports. This is or following up with Tom Brady, still a coward. New England quarterback Tom Brady said he respects his teammates' decision to skip the White House visit, although he prefers putting politics aside.
Oh, now's the time we put politics aside.
So when the article first came out, it was the headline said Brady says wishes his teammates would put politics aside, and I was telling them this is bullshit, and people were trying to tell me that that's not really what he said. So I'm gonna read what he said, and then I'm gonna tell you why he's still fucking problematic. It's a really great experience, Brady told PFT. Putting politics aside, it never was a political thing. At least it was never to me. It was something that was a privilege to do. It meant you won a championship and you got to experience something cool with your team and with your teammates. Everyone has their own choice. Everyone has their own choice. There are certain years, like a couple years ago, I wanted to go and didn't get the opportunity based on the schedule. It was at an Apple store. We didn't get told until I think like 10 days before we were going. And at that point, that's something I had been planning for months and couldn't get there. He went to an Apple store. Mm-hmm. So here's the problem. People were like, "Well, no, he's not saying that. He's not talking bad about his teammates. He's saying they should put politics aside." Yeah, he is. Tom Brady is the leader of the fucking team. He's the star. When you think New England Patriots, you think Tom Brady, right? That's just what you think. So when Tom Brady says, "Well, it's never political to me," and you know when you put you put politics aside, you're going to the fucking White House. You're not. Right. That's not a. You can't put politics aside and go to the White House. Not to mention, he didn't put politics aside when he put a "Make America Great Again" hat in his locker.
Right.
So, and he didn't want to talk about the politics then. He made a political statement. He didn't want to follow it up. Now, when his teammates are talking about not going because of and being less of a coward and not being cowards like Tom Brady is by speaking out against Trump, Tom Brady wants to say, "Well, for me, it was never political." Right. It's bullshit. It's a bullshit answer. And by saying what he's saying now, when he wasn't, like again, a week ago, he wasn't talking about this. When he was asked about it during the Super Bowl, he wasn't talking about it. When he was asked about it during the season, he wasn't talking about it. Now he has an opinion and wants to talk about it. Read between the lines, folks. Read between the lines. Like, that to me is the mark of being a coward.
And also this idea when he talks about putting politics aside, it's as if, you know, his buddy Trump hasn't given people reason to not want to go. Mm-hmm. Like, say he did nothing post-election, right? Mm-hmm. And he was our president, and things weren't as crazy as they are right now. With every day there's something he's saying, and maybe then people feel like, okay, I can go, right? But it's literally been every day. Mm-hmm. Every day, and it's been wild. So he's giving people more than enough reason to not want to go. And so to make that statement is to completely ignore everything Trump has done and how it affects people, and it's clearly affecting his teammates.
Right, and I think that I think to me it's a coward move to hear your teammates say some things, right, and then go, well, I'm gonna put politics aside because it's not political to me. You're right, to you, because you are a white man, a rich white man, and your friend is the president who is another rich white man who is a bigot. And so you can put all that shit aside because it doesn't affect you and not care about your teammate. Like I'm saying, like if Tom Brady wants to be a real leader, not be a coward, he would hear what his teammates are saying, why they're not going, and go, you know what? That's my friend, but I believe in my team. I'm gonna say about my teammates, and I'm not gonna go either. That would be a stand up move for him to do, to defend his teammates, since he didn't want to defend putting that hat in his locker right now. To do that, to watch, and again, this comes after these I think it's at least 6 preachers are getting attacked for not going. So Brady comes out and says and gives an interview instead of going. I think what they're doing is right. They don't believe in this. There have been some things that were said that they don't agree with. And you know what? That I don't agree with. Now I'm going because that is my friend, and I'm going to put politics aside. But I totally understand why they won't do that. And I think they have that's a strong statement where he can still go. But he stands up for his teammates.
Yeah, I respect their decision not to go.
Right, like this statement he gives is such a spineless statement that leaves his teammates out there on the hook, going, "Well, if Brady can put aside politics, why can't you?" You know,
right?
And I think so to me, it's when people go, "Oh, well, that's not what he said." You're parsing it. You're going he did say that, and he did throw his teammates under the fucking bus. Because he's Tom fucking Brady. And if he really was a leader, if he really gave a fuck about what his teammates were saying, what they were feeling, and how passionate they're feeling about it, and why they're feeling that way, he would side with them and stand in between them and the hate they're getting right now.
Right.
He did not do that. He's a fucking coward.
Yeah. He's going out of his way to be the most hated quarterback.
Right. Beyond, great football player.
He's amazing. He's one of the best I've ever seen do it. But
can you imagine if, this is the shit that keeps people like T.O. out of, the Hall of Fame.
You see that thing today about T.O. saying he's not in because he dropped too many passes?
Come on, man. It's just one of those things where a black player could never do this.
Absolutely
could
not.
Could never be this much of a douche nugget like Tom Brady is, and he is, and he's allowed to do it because he's coddled.
But also, if there was a black player like that, they'd be classified as characterized as divisive and not a team player, and not a leader.
Kaepernick,
yeah. Oh, Kaepernick didn't do anything, right?
Right,
but then you get the whole thing. Even with reports that the whole locker room was supportive, it's people still were making reports like he's going to divide the locker room, and it's terrible for the team, and it's gonna be a distraction. Despite what came out of that locker room, people outside of it still reported it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Fucking terrible.
People hated him for quietly taking a knee. Hated it.
All right, let's move into some politics here.
Yes, some politics.
It's been so quiet, right? It's been so quiet.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into the Trump press conference first, but I came across this interesting thing that came up. Apparently, Chris Christie was meeting at the White House. Chris Christie says Trump made him order the fabulous meatloaf at the White House.
How do you make a grown man eat something?
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said I'm not calling him president. Donald Trump made him order the meatloaf when they dined together at the White House this week. Christie and his wife, Mary Pat, joined Trump at the White House on Tuesday. The Republican governor said that while guest hosting Boomer and Carton show Thursday, that Trump pointed out the menu and told people to get whatever they wanted. Then he said he and Christie were going to have the meatloaf. This is what it's like to be with Trump. Christie said, he says there's a menu, you got to order what you want. And then he says, Chris, you and I are going to have the meatloaf. Trump said, I'm telling you the meatloaf is fabulous, according to Christie. It's not the first time Trump has insisted on having delectable comfort food. Let me say, yeah.
A bully move.
He hit Chris Christie with the eat the meatloaf anime.
Yeah, exactly.
Eat the meatloaf anime. Eat it. It's good. Eat it. I said, eat it, Christie. Good God.
Exactly.
What a fucking bully.
A video of him shoving meatloaf in his face.
What a fucking bully, man. My God. And of course he's a meatloaf person. He just looks like a giant fucking meatloaf. And of course he's a meatloaf person. And it's just it's between this and then the handshake. I know you've seen the videos of the handshake.
Oh yeah,
my God. He's such a bully. And he does so many bully-like tactics. It's just unbelievable that this man became president. And I'm not gonna lie, it was I think it was either Thursday. It really started getting to me. I was like, some days it's one thing to have a president that you don't like and you don't agree with. Like, hey, George W. Bush. Got George W. Bush, and I was like, I can't believe this guy's president. This is fucking ridiculous. When it comes to Trump, he is so unhinged and so unqualified, and just everything about him is so unpresidential that I look at him and go, my God, white people hate me that much that they would elect this guy, to the point that they hate people of color so much. They hate us more than they love themselves, because Trump is going to fuck things up for them too.
Right.
But because it sticks it at us, the marginalized, the people of color, they voted for him. And it's just like every now and then, man, it just gets to me,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Because you wonder, oftentimes I'm just like, man, how did we even get here?
Right.
Like, how do we get to this point? Because it seems like a lot of people are disgusted. How do we get here?
Mm-hmm.
And you realize it's people's, who probably don't see themselves as hateful, but absolutely dismissive of issues that don't center around them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They could care less because it's not going to affect them, so they do it anyway. And this is what landed us. Now it's gonna, because they think it's not going to affect them. They go and make these rash decisions, and they realize it is going to affect them. But by now, it's too late. It's too late. It's way too late. Now we're all in the shit together.
Mm-hmm. And now they want to come together. Like, I was having this moment where I would just like, because I kept having, not gonna lie, I'm sorry for the white women who are listening to the show. I'm sorry I lash out to you guys, but it really hits me because, like, I'm always constantly lashing out to white women on Twitter because they always pop up in my mentions. And I'll be talking about something, and I'm like, oh, man, this is ridiculous. And we'll get to it later when I talk about Susan Sarandon. It was like peak white feminism. And it's like, oh, not all white women. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, y'all got to stop saying that, because 53% of you guys voted for Trump.
Yeah, the number is out there. It's 53%.
Right.
We've all seen it.
That means the majority of white women voted for this man. Now, maybe you didn't, but that means statistically you know somebody who did. Somebody in your family, things like that. And, like you need to deal with that. Like, and like at some point, like it's one thing to sit there and tell us we're all on the same side. We all got to come together now. I'm like, no, like you don't get to tell us we got to come together now after not listening to us all this time before. It just drives me crazy. Let me play this. We'll get more into this, but I'm gonna play the key moments from Trump's solo press conference, and we'll stop and play. Like, apparently it was like 70 minutes.
Oh God!
I did not watch it. This they broke down some of the key moments into 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
We had a totally divided country for 8 years, and long before that, in all fairness to President Obama, long before President Obama, we have had a very divided. I didn't come along and divide this country. This country was seriously divided before I got here.
You're not helping.
You know one thing I hate? I hate this idea that somehow during 8 years of Obama, the country became more divided. I think the difference is with changes in technology and also access to technology. What that means is the marginalized voices that you couldn't hear before are now being amplified. That doesn't mean that, like, and I think so many people of privilege are, and it's not just white people. It's privileged black men like myself. It's privileged black people. It's privileged people of color. It's so many of us who have gotten along on the lines of just surviving and not hearing those marginalized voices because they didn't have a voice. They didn't have a way to get their voice out there. Now, you can't ignore them. Now, a person who is suffering can get that suffering amplified and out there and put out in front of everybody using tools that they didn't have available to them a decade ago, And so now you see that, and now you find it, you find it divisive. Like using an example of this, police brutality. When Michael Brown happened, when Ferguson happened, when Black Lives Matter became this thing, like people started going, oh wow, it was just under Obama things became no. Black Lives Matter didn't awaken under Obama. These people have been doing this. What awakened is they now had an opportunity to use technology and social media so that they can no longer be ignored. So many of these people were.
And what about that is divisive? Like, what about saying that wanting accountability for police action is divisive?
Right. Like, and again, like,
it becomes everything but the problem, right? It's an attack on cops. Mm-hmm. It's racism. Like, it's funny. Just yesterday, I was talking to my friend, and she was saying how there used to be, up at her old campus, these people would hold these signs up that said "diversity equals white genocide." Mm-hmm. And as absurd as we think it is, right? There's people who believe that. They believe that, like, wanting diversity, the fact, like you said, marginalized people having a voice, you not being able to discriminate against people publicly, you can't do that anymore. It isn't a genocide of white people. It's an end to an ugly way of living that people have been tired of. That people have been sick of it. Yeah. You've never been okay with it. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, I look at these people that see Black Lives Matter today and go, it's divisive. I'm going to go, what do you think happened when Rodney King was beaten?
Right.
Like we've been trying to get mainstream media to pay attention to these stories for the longest time, and you didn't. And the only time it really happened is when there was a riot or something like that. Now you can't ignore it because there are, like, the videos are out there. Like, we're watching police. Like, when we told you police were shooting us and shooting unarmed people, you said, no, it didn't happen. Now we have cell phone videos. Now there's social media. So now that narrative is challenged because it's out there and goes viral. That doesn't mean it's more divisive. It means you can't hide it anymore. It means you can't ignore it anymore. That does not mean it's more divisive. And so, again, just bullshit.
Yeah, there's a new story today about these Jacksonville police officers who got in trouble. 3 Jacksonville detectives were arrested for tampering with evidence after a deadly shooting. And for us, it's not a surprise, right? But how can you look at a story like that and say to yourself that this is okay? Mm-hmm. Right? You should, collectively, as a country, we should all say, no, let's get these people out. If we're going to have people who are law enforcement, let's make sure that they're okay. Let's not have these people in here who are doing crooked stuff. Let's not have them in our office. But because they're killing black people, you seem to be okay with it.
Right. Yeah. And it's bullshit. So more Trump stuff. We're only 16 seconds in.
Reagan with 306 electoral votes. In fact, President Obama got 365 in 2008.
Well, I'm talking about Republican.
President Obama 332, and George H.W. Bush 426 when he won as president. So why should Americans trust you when you're misrepresenting information?
I was just given. We had a very, very big margin.
The question is, why should Americans trust you when you accuse the information they receive of being fake when you're providing information that's not accurate?
I was given that information. I've seen that information around.
Are you?
That's not the appropriate answer for that question.
Like,
I've seen the information.
What the fuck, man? Like, he just sat there and flatly lied, and then was caught on the lie, and goes, well, I've seen the information around. Like, how?
Yeah, that doesn't make it true.
What are we doing here?
It's so dumb. I could tell he was frustrated because he was cutting that dude off before he could even finish talking.
Yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous. I like, what are we talking here?
No, you know what I think?
Sorry, go ahead.
You know what I think when I see this stuff? Like, I couldn't imagine if Obama tried half this stuff.
Dude,
could you imagine? Could you just imagine people's heads exploding on national television if you tried any of this stuff?
The one thing I take comfort in is knowing that the White House press corps used to be frustrated with Obama and talk about all this shit about Obama. Like, he's doing what you guys want. You guys are just being assholes. Like, now they're seeing somebody who's truly antagonistic to the press, and I'm like, you miss Obama now, don't you? There's a lot of that going around, like me going around. Like, I think it was Valentine's Day. Like, the Obamas are trolling the fuck out of us. I know they're back in the country now.
Oh, man, they're kicking.
They posted a picture of them on the beach. It was just their feet in the sand saying Happy Valentine's Day to each other. And I'm just like, oh, man. Like, it was like, you know how much shit we're dealing with back here. And you're living it. And you know what? I love it. I love that you guys are enjoying your life right now. So good. Yeah, here we go. More
information around.
Are you gonna include the CBC, Mr. President, in your conversations with your urban agenda, your inner city agenda, as well as?
Am I going to include?
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional?
Well,
Hispanic
I would.
Caucus,
I tell you what. Do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
No.
Are they friends of yours?
Just a reporter.
No, set up the meeting.
I know some of them, but I'm sure.
Let's go set up a meeting. I would love to meet with the Black Caucus. I think it's great, the Congressional Black Caucus. I mean,
are they friends of yours? Okay.
My nigga, listen. I'll give it. I'll give it. I'll give it to this. I don't see how you don't jump over. I know the Secret Service is there, but how don't you jump over and strangle the fuck out of this white man for saying something?
He won't even let people finish their. He just is cutting them off and like trying to talk over people. It's wild. Yeah.
Do you want to set it up? Mind you, apparently the CBC sent him a letter.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. They were like, "Yeah, we sent you a letter."
You never responded.
You never responded.
Like when people go, Trump's not racist. I'm like, yeah, he is, because he doesn't know how to talk to black people. So he tries to get other black people to talk to black people for himself because he can't do it himself. Yeah. It is disgusting. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Story after story after story is bad. I won.
You mentioned the.
Yeah, okay, you won, but you're still lying.
You're still you won. That's the whole point. You won. Why are you still lying?
Like you're lying.
Why?
You're fucking lying your ass off right now. I mean, like, okay, you won, but winning doesn't mean you get to lie. Like, that's what you're doing.
The spy vessel off the coast of the United States.
Not good.
There was a ballistic missile test that many interpret as
Not
a violation
good.
of an agreement between the two countries, and a Russian plane buzzed a U.S. destroyer.
Not good.
No, when I read off the three things that recently happened,
no,
each one of them you said they're not good. But do they damage the relationship?
They all happened recently. No, I'm
this country's ability to work with Russia?
They all happened recently, and I understand what they're doing.
Can we conclude there'll be no response to these particular provocations?
I'm not going to tell you anything about what response I do. I don't talk about military response. I don't say I'm going into Mosul.
Oh, my God.
Oh, gosh. Wow.
This guy is crazy.
He's really dumb.
We're going to
yeah, that's the thing. He's dumb. This is what happened. But I've said this before. It's like when you look at most Republicans, this is what they are. They give you the anti-intellectual argument to everything they do. Everything is gut feeling. Everything is, well, no. It's like, nothing of it is factual. Nothing they do is factual.
It's funny to say that after the last presidential debate between Hillary and Trump, I was watching CNN. And, they had this big panel, and you got people who were trying to say Trump won the debates and blah 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 blah. And they were like, American people like people who speak from their mind and yada yada yada. And then someone was like, but sometimes you need your president to be presidential. I get you wanting to speak freely and speak openly and not, and not sort of bullshit. But there are times when you need a president to be presidential. That's why they're president, and we're seeing it right now.
Well, you want to, yeah. You like. I was supposed to write this down. I now remember what I was going to go do. You just saying what you just did reminded me of what I was going to say. And I had a whole thing I was supposed to. I was being lazy this week and I didn't write it out. But here's the thing. You know what Trump reminds me of when it comes to leadership qualities? Captain fucking Kirk.
Yeah.
Trump reminds me of Captain Kirk, and this is why. When you look at what Captain Kirk does, and you can do whether you want to do the original series or you want to do the 2009 movie. Nothing that Captain Kirk does is actually is good. Everything he does is by his gut. He does everything by his gut, and it's at the because it's a movie, it works. But in your mind, he's surrounded by everybody else around him is competent. The most competent person on the ship is fucking Spock.
Right.
If you go to that 2009 movie, what makes it even more funny is this is a guy who he literally pulls a Trump. Right. He says it a bunch of times. I joined Starfleet on a dare. Right. He was given a dare. He gets in there. He's mediocre. He beats the Kobayashi Maru test by cheating.
Right.
He basically gets disciplined. I think he's either going to get kicked out or whatever, but that's when Starfleet is attacked. He ends up on the Enterprise by dumb luck because his good friend Bones, who's a good medical doctor, brings him on there and gets him on there. Spock is on the ship and is supposed to be captain. He fails upward He's fucking
every time.
Every time. It's the same path as Donald Trump. It's like nothing he does. He's not good. Aurora, she's good at languages. She's good at communications. Like everybody else has a fucking skill. What is Captain Kirk's skill?
Being mediocre.
Speaking from his gut, going with his gut.
Right.
That is his skill. And again, I'm not trying to say people who they're gonna come back and Captain Kirk does it and he does. Right, because the script tells you to. Because in our society, we have given some kind. We for some reason have elevated this leadership quality of going with your gut as being some kind of quantitative, like leadership quality, but it's not. Like people that you say go with their gut, they go with their gut because of one, their experiences, and two, their intellect, and they've come to this reasonable conclusion. Goes, all right, I'm gonna go with my gut on this one because X, Y, and Z. They have a legitimate idea of that. None of what Kirk does is based off of that stuff. It's just, I'm gonna do it. And it works because it's a fucking movie or a TV show and it's entertainment. What we're seeing now in Donald Trump is a president who pulls a Captain Kirk. Who goes with everything by his gut, but you're seeing why that works in TV and fantasy land, but doesn't work in real fucking life.
Right. Listen, if you're, going with your gut can work, and sometimes it doesn't, right? If you're a bartender and and someone says, make me a drink, right, it's okay to go with your gut. If you're building a airplane, I don't want you going with your gut. I don't want to be on that plane. The people who built this plane kind of just went with their gut when they made it. Yeah, I'm good. I think I'll pass on that, right? Certain things just don't work with going with your gut.
If you were a roofer and you decided to build a roof, right? And you went with your gut instead of using your tools and your measuring things out. If you went with your gut, you would be, not only would you be fired, the roof you built would be not by code. You'd probably be arrested. You'd be serving time in jail. You can't do that. Can you imagine a surgeon going with their gut, right?
Yeah.
That's not what they do. There's a scene in Doctor Strange where he decides to go by feel to pull, I think, that bullet out, right? But even then, people go, that's not him going with his gut. That's him relying on his skill. He's a skilled surgeon. He's not going with his gut. He's relying on a skill set that he knows he has and that he can display and use. He's earned that right to do that. What Donald Trump is doing is he's going with his gut, but he has no experience in anything he's fucking done, right? And that's what you see again. I say he's Captain Kirk, but Captain Kirk does this so many fucking times. And what happens is it's the skilled people around him that are the ones that actually do shit, and they're the ones that actually give him what he does. And even in that case, what Captain Kirk is really doing is he's going with his gut by believing in the people around him.
Right.
And Donald Trump doesn't do that because now Donald Trump hasn't even surrounded himself with people around him that are competent. He's surrounded himself with people who are going to do what he does. He says all the time, I'm the best person for this. I know what's best, even though he doesn't. And he's now surrounded himself with a bunch of people who will back him up on that. Oh no, sir. Those clothes you have on, even though he's naked, are looking great. The emperor has no clothes, and we're not going to tell him. That's what he's surrounded himself with, and that's the gut he goes with. So it's like, and for some reason, we've built up this idea of going with your gut and going with feel being some kind of positive leadership quality.
Yeah, like the number one leadership quality. In actuality, in real life, we don't put that in our leaders.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not when it comes to things like this. Again, like I said, doctors don't go with their gut. And if they do what they're doing, they're going with their skill set that they believe in. Yeah, it's one thing to believe in yourself, but sometimes you also have to believe. The thing that we love about Obama was he was one of the smartest people in the room. And if he wasn't, he went out and found the people that were and trusted them. So you would get, people running the DOE who were PhDs and or Nobel Prize winners, right? Nobel Prize winners, right? You would get people that were qualified and knew what we were doing. Compare that to Donald Trump's cabinet, which is a bunch of people who have bullshit views that match what the president wants, and that's why they're there. You know,
Right.
so you get somebody like Betsy DeVos, who, quite frankly, is I can't even say she's the least qualified person in the cabinet, because, good God, most of the cabinet is unqualified. But because she'll do what President Trump wants her to do, that's why she's there. You know, you get people who you got a guy at I think the FEC right now, or the FCC right now, who is against net neutrality. It's just like you got all these people that are there for political reasons, not because they actually have some kind of understanding of what they're fucking doing. You know, and it's just.
Yeah, you're not bringing in highly qualified, motivated, educated people to do a job that needs highly qualified, motivated, educated people. You're not doing that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I like I said, I had this whole thing about the Trump and Captain Kirk, because it's just like I realized how many times people will sit there and tell me Captain Kirk is one of the greatest Georgia captains. I'm like, no, he wasn't actually. He was actually pretty terrible. He's a terrible captain. But what it was that bravado. It was his attitude. It was the way he did there. But I'm like, he's actually pretty. Like, how many times does the Enterprise get blown up?
Yeah, multiple times.
Right. Like, how many times?
How many red shirts died?
Right. How many red shirts died under this guy's watch? And I'm like, but he gets the label of being a great Starship captain because he looked good while doing it. And he was confident. And he had this air about him. But I'm like, yo, skill set wise, he was just another mediocre white guy. You know?
Here's the bigger issue with Captain Kirk as a leader, right? The Enterprise is a peacekeeping mission, and yet they were always in some bullshit because of Captain Kirk.
Right.
It's a peacekeeping mission. They kept getting into fights. Maybe he's not good at his job.
Maybe he's not.
Maybe he's not. If he's taking his peacekeeping mission into fights all the time.
Right. And I can't stress enough. It's like he cheated at the test. Like they and again, in the greatest moments of white privilege, he was allowed to get away with it by cheating. Like, it just, like, you were, how did you beat the unbeatable test? And again, it was such a, when more and more I think about it, the more and more I realized that thing was just it was a way for him to cheat the answer. Like, it's supposed, like, when Spock gives the answer about how, yes, you're right, you're not supposed to be able to beat the test, the more and more I think about it, I was like, Spock is right. You need to be able to accept sometimes that you got to be able to accept your limitations. But what Kirk did is say, oh, no, that's bullshit. I don't think that, which, again, sounds good on paper, but in reality, no. We all have limitations. We all have limits of what we can and can't do. And knowing those limitations are how you can mitigate them. When you don't admit that you have those limitations, though, you'll never do that. And so
knowing your limitations keeps you safe. Mm-hmm. It keeps you from doing the dumbest thing possible, because you're like, yeah, I can't do that.
It's like that saying in G.I. Jane, where he's like, when you're injured, it lets you know that you're alive. It lets you know when you're pain lets you know when you're seriously injured. It's like, yeah, sometimes you got to know that. Now, I remember when I was going to my second fight, and somebody was there. I think one of my students was asking, my coach. It was like, you have any advice to give Chris before his fight? He's like, besides, just don't get hit. And we both looked at her at the same time. It was like, that's stupid advice, not to get hit. She's like, why? I was like, because you're going to get hit. So if you go into a fight thinking that you're never going to get hit because you're never going to get that quality, maybe you'll get lucky and maybe you won't get hit.
Right.
Right? And if you don't, hey, that's great, right? But what happens when you do? And if you've never prepared for the opportunity, if you've never prepared for the possibility of getting hit in the face, you're going to freak out. You're not going to react to it right.
The moment you get hit.
Yeah, and you're not going to know how to do it. But if you've trained for the worst, if you've come to accept that could happen, then you can move on from that. But, like, again, so many people like Kirk and Trump never want to admit that. They never want to admit that they're, like, Trump's biggest problem right now is he doesn't want to admit that he's out of his element.
Yeah. It's funny. It reminds me of one time we went to Vegas. So me and my friend were on this flight. He's reading this poker book. He's really into poker. And so we get to Vegas. We landed. It was a bunch of us coming, right? So we landed before most of our friends. We were the first group to land. So he goes to go play this poker. He goes into this high stakes poker thing. Right?
Wrong. First thing.
Walks in. Walks out. And I was like, I said, man, what's up, man? Why didn't you go? He said, man, the guy that wrote the poker book I'm reading is in there at the table. So, yeah, I'm not doing this. And we did something else, right? But that's someone understanding their limitations.
Right.
Like, I've been reading a book by this dude, and I walk in and he's there playing poker. Yeah, this isn't the table I need to be at.
It's a reality check. It's like
it's a check of like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not that arrogant that I think I can beat the guy who wrote the book on this.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've been reading the entire flight down about poker and strategy. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Not going to do that. So, all right, let's finish this clip up.
Mosul in 4 months. Then 3 months later. We're going to attack Mosul in 1 month. Next week, we are going to attack Mosul. In the meantime, Mosul is very, very difficult. You know why? Because I don't talk about military and I don't talk about certain other things. We had Hillary Clinton give Russia 20% of the uranium.
That's false.
In our country.
Yeah.
You know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
All right.
Yeah. God. They got to get him out of here. I hope they impeach him immediately.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. So, hey, hold on real quick. I'm going to pause this. All right, sorry about that. But
no worries.
Might have gotten some extra equipment and threw me off a little bit. Threw me off my game a little bit. Yeah, man, like Trump is just so fucking it's just it's amazing to me to see this. And it's not just him. Like we saw Stephen Miller go out there and talk about voter fraud.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
even I saw a clip yesterday. I don't watch Bill Maher, but I watched a clip of Larry Wilmore on there yesterday.
Oh, I got that. So hold that thought.
Yeah.
We got the Larry Wilmore thing and Wilmore thing and Milo and Bill Maher, which, by the way, is
no. But the guy talking about voter fraud and asked, and this was the Bill Maher show. This was like, what is it called, Overtime, whatever it's called. And they asked him, and Bill asked him about it, and he was like, "Oh, we have so many registered, voters who are dead." And they're like, "Yeah, but that's not the same as voter fraud."
Yeah, sorry.
Because
Shut
they
up.
power over 1 million WordPress sites, and their platform is designed.
Sorry about that. I hate when they always do this.
That's not the same as voter fraud.
Right.
And they're conflating the two things, and that's what's frustrating. Like, we know that's not the same thing, but you can throw out this number, like, oh, there's 3 million people who are registered to vote who are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
People die. Like, you got to purge them from the voting roll. That doesn't mean that they actually went out and dead people voted.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I showed up under, like, a dead person's name and tried to vote.
Like, it's so fucking ridiculous.
Ugh. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, man.
Stephen Miller, he's terrible, too.
No, he's the fucking worst, man. Oh, come on. There we go. Unmuted. So, here we go.
Doubling down on claims of widespread voter fraud without offering any proof. Take a listen to this exchange on ABC earlier today.
This morning on this show is not the venue for me to lay out all the evidence, but I can tell you this. Voter fraud is a serious problem in this country. You have millions of people who are registered in 2 states or who are dead or who are registered to vote, and you have 14% of non-citizens, according to academic research, at a minimum, are registered to vote, which is an astonishing statistic.
You can't hold on a second. You just claimed again that there was illegal voting in New Hampshire, people bussed in from the state of Massachusetts. Do you have any evidence to back that up?
George, go to New Hampshire, talk to anybody who's worked in politics there for a long time. Everybody's aware of the problem in New Hampshire with respect to
I'm asking you as the White House senior
hold
on a second. I'm asking you as the White House senior policy advisor. The president made a statement saying he was the victim of voter fraud, people being bused from Massachusetts and New Hampshire.
The president was.
Okay, well, it's being...
Wow.
At this point, and this is where it comes back to the media. At this point, when do you stop interviewing Stephen Miller?
Yeah, just stop it.
Like, it's the same thing that happened with Kellyanne Conway. It's like, at what point do you stop interviewing these people because they are not telling the truth? And they will not tell the truth. So, why bring them on? You know what's going to happen. Why do this? Until they give you somebody who's going to tell you the truth, don't bring them on. And I think the media is having a hard time doing this because they want access. But at the same time, at what cost?
Right.
We we had the whole thing now with this week with Michael Flynn being resigning, and Trump still defending Michael Flynn. And the thing that drives me crazy is Michael Flynn didn't resign for what he did in talking to Russia after the election. He resigned because, and it's not even because he lied to Mike Pence. He resigned because the public found out.
Right.
And it made them look bad. Like, this is what we're dealing with at this point. And the media has to get their act together and decide what they're going to do.
Yeah, just not talk to these people.
Mm-hmm. And do that. I mean, also happened this week. It was like what we've also realized with Trump is that he's doing everything. Again, going back to the Captain Kirk, I joined Starfleet on a dare type deal, right?
Right.
Trump ran for president because the black guy won and the black guy embarrassed him. Right. That is what he did. He never really wanted to be president. His family never wanted to be president. That's why Melania doesn't want to be first lady. She doesn't want to move into the White House. Like, that's why he hasn't divested from his businesses. And he's doing this whole thing where he's trying to call Mar-a-Lago now the winter White House. It is not.
No.
It is a private club that Trump owns, and it gives him a place to show off to his friends. That's what happened this weekend, where Mar-a-Lago members got a front row seat to Trump's nuclear crisis this weekend, and they took pictures. This is where North Korea had fired some missile, and Trump was having dinner with the Japanese prime minister at Mar-a-Lago. And so what happened was a flurry of events, and Mar-a-Lago members watched and took pictures of this happening. Now, they were all this stuff happened. People were like, the White House come out and said there wasn't any. This was just coordinating the press conference they were holding. There wasn't any sensitive information being done, business being done here. But my question is, why are you doing it at base in public? Even though it's a private, you're in public because you're around people that are not cleared. You're around. Why are you doing it there? And there was one image I saw that looked at it. It was this image of Trump and the look on his face. He was looking at the camera and he was just so proud of himself. And I'm like, oh my God, Trump is doing this just so he can show off to his friends.
Right.
To look important.
President.
Right. To look important and seem busy, he's doing that thing where and I'm like, oh my God, like, we have a guy whose ego is so bruised. Can easily bruise. He needs to be reassured, even though he's a president of the United States, even though he has the nuclear codes, and he's one of the most powerful people in the world now, he still needs to be made to feel important.
Yeah, at all times.
At all times. And I need people to understand something like Michael's friend resigned, for something for lying. He lied to the FBI. He did all this stuff. He resigned. This is the same thing he was chanting at the Republican National Convention to lock her up for. To lock Hillary Clinton up for. That's what he was doing that. He did the same thing. Right. Trump is here doing official business. Whether you want to say, here's the thing. I think a lot of people think that, hey, well, maybe it wasn't sensitive information. Listen, it is sensitive information. You're coordinating something with a foreign national out here. You don't know what the people, the other Trump wants to do extreme vetting on immigration, for immigrant things like that. Who's vetting the members of Mar-a-Lago?
Right.
Like, there was an image of them. One of them took a picture with the guy who holds the nuclear football.
Yeah,
like,
I saw that. That was dumb. Like, why is this picture out there? Like, who does that?
Who are these members? Again, and because it's a private club, there's no member list to Mar-a-Lago. So with Trump spending every weekend there, and that's what it seems like he's going to do because he's been doing it since the election, since he got sworn in. We have no idea who the private members of this club are who are getting access to President Trump.
The president. He's not Trump the celebrity anymore. He's the president. So who has access to him? Who's around him? Is way more important than it was a year ago.
So if your government wants inside information and to get a person in Trump's ear, all you have to do is pay the $14,000 annual fee. It's a $200,000 initiation fee, but then $14,000 annual fee, and you can get somebody in there. God forbid, we don't know who. I have no. This is also, I think, news came out. I think sometime either late last year or early this year that they're looking for approval. Like Mar-a-Lago was looking for approval to hire foreign nationals for their staff. So you have foreign nationals on staff of a place that the president goes to do business every weekend. And the other thing, too, that drives me crazy about this is Mar-a-Lago, again, is Trump's property. When he goes here and takes vacations here, the U.S. government, we the taxpayer are paying for, we pay for everybody's vacation. Like when the Obamas go to Hawaii, we pay for that vacation, things like that. But that money went to paying their vacation, and not just the security, but where they stayed and things like that. It went into the economy of that place. The money that we pay as taxpayers to cover Trump's vacations when he stays at his own properties goes right into Trump's pockets. We are paying him. We are paying for him to stay at his own properties. This is one of the greatest scams we have ever fucking seen.
Right.
Because he has not divested from his companies.
No, he hasn't. Not at all.
So when he goes and does things at Mar-a-Lago, and so he has a business meeting with a foreign national at Mar-a-Lago, that money goes into his pockets. You are not supposed to be able to personally profit from being president, yet he is doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he was like, oh, I won't take a salary. Of course, why would you take a salary when you can get more money from your business that you didn't divest from by getting foreign nationals to buy hotel rooms at your property? And then it goes back into your fucking money. Recently, I think Eric and Donald Trump Jr., they went over to Dubai, I believe, to open up a golf course there.
Mm-hmm.
We paid for Secret Service to cover them to go over there to do a business venture that will end up paying into the Trump family pockets.
And it's just weird how much of a conflict of interest a lot of this is, but no one seems to care to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Drive me crazy.
Because it's that, or it's Russia, or it's right. It's all of this stuff, right? It keeps happening every day.
Mm-hmm. It's absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it drives me crazy that it doesn't seem like anything we can do. And it goes back to my saying of when people sit there and go, "Oh well, we don't know." We voted for a change. We didn't vote for racism. Blah blah. We voted for economic anxiety. No, you fucking didn't. No, you fucking didn't. Because you literally elected big business.
Right.
And he's doing big business, and he's scamming everybody. Some of the things that he's like when they're getting rid of regulations on pollution and things like that. Like he's literally selling us to big business, which is what we all thought was going to happen.
Exactly.
It's just so fucking annoying, yo. All right. Moving off of Trump news. This is in Bill Maher is a piece of shit. So Bill Maher brought in, and I told you guys this. We did this before. Bill Maher decided to bring in that Milo Yiannopoulos fucking dude, whatever. It's a gay guy on the right who's basically I can't say he's a neo-Nazi because he's gay, and I don't know what you would call. He's a piece of shit. This is a guy who was behind the attacks on Leslie Jones. He, when we had the riots at Berkeley, when they rioted, when he was going to talk, like this, and Bill Maher, again being the piece of shit he is, invited Milo onto his show. There's one guy who was supposed to be on the show too. He decided to back out of it. I'll just see if I can
Jeremy. Gosh. Yeah. I forgot his name. He did a documentary that I really liked. Jeremy Scahill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna see. So I'm gonna read. I'll read later on. What Jeremy Scahill says later on, but because while I appreciate what he said, I want to also say it's also one of the great moments in white privilege and some of the stuff he said here, because it's like this is the line you draw, but we'll get to that later. Actually, no, let me start with that. So Jeremy Scahill pulled it out. I have it here. Today I saw that the news that Milo is scheduled to be on the lead guest on Friday's show, Friday's episode of Real Time with Bill Maher. It was already scheduled to be appearance on the program the same evening, along with Larry Wilmore and Jack Kingston. I decided that I will not be appearing on the show. Before I explain my reason for this, I want to say that I have had the pleasure of working as a correspondent for Real Time over the years, and has been have been a guest and a panelist many times. I have total admiration and respect for the producers, writers, and others who work on the show. Over the past decade, the people at Real Time have become like a family to me. I passionately disagree with and oftentimes and find offensive some of Bill's views, particularly when his comments on Islam and Muslims veer into vitriol. And we stop there. Why didn't you pull out then?
Right.
That's my first problem with this. Like, it's nice that this is the line you drew in the stand, but Bill Maher's been terrible. He's been a bigot. He's been crossed the line. Why is this all of a sudden now the line you decide to draw? Like, why couldn't you take the stand in there when he was talking about the kid who built that clock who got arrested? He was a piece of shit then. Like, at some point, like this is the problem I have with so many of these people. Is like, until it becomes somebody that threatens you, you don't want to speak up.
Right.
But now you do. At the same time, I have a deep respect for Bill and his voice on many other issues, and I believe that he and his staff have created a vital platform for debate and discussion at times I love and other times I loathe. I know that I fall in the latter category for some of the show's viewers because I hear from them every time I appear. Whatever one might say about Bill, he always allows guests to challenge him or disagree with him. That's not always a good thing.
No.
Like having both sides of an argument out there isn't good when one side of the argument is terrible and is openly supporting bigotry. But Milo Yiannopoulos is one bridge too far. He has ample venues to spew his hateful diatribes. There is no value in debating him. Appearing on Real Time will provide Milo with a large and important platform to openly advocate his racist anti-immigrant campaign. How is that different from Bill Maher? It will be exploited by Milo in an attempt to legitimize his hateful agenda. Milo appearance could also be used to incite violence against immigrants, transgender people, and others at a time when Trump administration are already seeking to formalize a war against some of the most vulnerable people in our society. Again, how is this any different from what Bill Maher does when he rants and raves against Islam and Muslims?
Right.
Milo show he is willing to use his appearance to publicly attack and shame specifically ordinary people by name. Practically could lead to violence or even death. Real Time, of course, has the right to book whoever they want in its show, including Milo, but I cannot participate in an event. They'll give a platform to such a person. For these reasons, I've informed the producer in Real Time that I will not appear on the show. Again, I mean, hey, listen, great that you took a stance. I can't help but feel that the stance is too late.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Because what you're saying is true. Like, his reasoning for not wanting to appear with Milo is the same reason as not wanting to appear to talk to Bill Maher.
Right.
It's the same reasoning.
Yeah. Same fucking reasoning. And again, this is after Bill Maher did the whole PC thing, you know, because he's a fucking piece of shit, you know. But now again, this is what happens so much in whiteness, in that it's your friend, so you don't say anything,
right?
And this is what happened with this, and yeah, it's
and also Bill provides a platform for people to get on there and be seen, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't want to burn that bridge, or you don't want to be a person who's not showing up with some platform. But if we want the change that we say we want, it takes that kind of sacrifice to say, this is a platform that can provide for me, but I'm not going there because this person believes in these things that I think are problematic.
Right. And here's Bill's response. Liberals will continue to lose elections as long as they follow the example of people like Mr. Scahill, whose views veer into fantasy and away from bedrock liberal principles like equality for women, respect for minorities, and separation of religion and state, and freedom of speech. But none of the things you say, this is Bill Maher's response, but I'm like, everything you're saying right there is against what Milo stands for. That is the stance. Scale's taking the stance because you're inviting a person on who does not, who don't stand for that thing. He doesn't stand for equality of women. He doesn't stand for respect for minorities. He doesn't respect for any of this stuff. If Mr. Yiannopoulos is indeed the monster Scahill claims, and he might be, nothing could serve the liberal cause better than having him exposed on a Friday night. That's bullshit. He's already been exposed. And again, you get from Bill Maher this idea, well, if he is indeed a monster, like, well, I don't know. At this point, you already do know.
But his idea, like, you're not exposing him. Like, even when you watch that interview, he's not exposing anything. He's laughing and yucking it up with him.
Yeah, here's part of this. I've got two particular parts because it's just Larry Wilmore talking and doing the right thing and how to shut this shit down.
I just think it's sad because the same arguments that were used against gay people, treating them like aliens who just wanted to fuck anything that moved, and that's why we should avoid them at all costs.
No, I think there's a big difference.
Well, let me finish my thought, please. You know, no, it's true. There's a difference without a distinction because it's using the same type of arguments. It's like when people try to compare gay and black. Yeah, they're not the same thing. No. We share an invisibility. You know, people didn't see us in society, and gay people hid out from society. Mm-hmm. Right. But there were a lot of the same issues that you have to deal with when you're marginalized.
We understand and now people can be discriminated against.
No, that's a group that's
right?
marginalized, and so the attack. You can always find an extreme person that becomes the object of your attack to assign that to everybody. So if you say, well, that person is weird or they want to commit sexual assault, then everybody thinks all transgender people want to do is commit sexual assault.
Well, they are disproportionately involved in those kinds of crimes.
They're what?
Vastly disproportionately involved in sex crime.
Who is?
Transgender people?
Yes.
Based on what statistic?
I don't know.
That's not a controversial statistic. And,
it is a controversial statistic.
And frankly, you know, you're saying, you know, you're suggesting these people are the victims of some kind of discrimination. Well, I'm saying to you, this is a psychiatric disorder.
I didn't say discrimination.
This is a psychiatric disorder, like identity disorder, or like sociopathy, or.
Again, first of all, this man has no background in any of this he's trying to say.
No.
Right? He has no background in this. Later on, here's the thing. Somebody just pointed out, Yiannopoulos is correct. Transgender people are disproportionately involved in sex crimes as the victims.
Yes, it's funny. When I watched that clip, that's what I thought.
Right.
I was like, that's a cool thing to say. It's like, oh, black people are disproportionately involved in hate crimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As the victims.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And so, and like you said, Bill Maher sitting here, he's not doing the Larry Wilmore route, where Larry Wilmore is there and clearly not here for this shit, and is shutting the shit down. Later on, I'm gonna keep playing this. I want to get to the part where he really just go tell Milo go fuck himself.
I don't want these people around little girls involved.
No. I'm saying, here's what I'm saying.
But this is also another little thing you see with again white males, right? Where they can make excuses for their bullshit, but when it starts getting time to stand up for other marginalized groups, they don't want to do this. So here with Milo, he is a gay man, but somehow you're seeing his bigotry come out as a gay man, in that the same arguments used against gay men is the argument being used against transgender people, but he doesn't see it that way. So now he's attacking the transgender community with the same arguments that were used to attack his own community. But because he's a white male, he doesn't see it that way, and he doesn't care. It is truly like. White male privilege is truly fascinating because it cuts across all boards. You can be a white male who is gay, and you're still above. You still find yourself above and beyond other marginalized people, no matter where you are in that in the marginalized groups, in these other groups outside of just being a cis heterosexual white male. You still find yourself above and beyond everybody else. It's truly just.
But even Milo floats out this idea that like he can't be this evil person because he sleeps with black men.
Oh yeah, he throws that in there later on, and I'm just like
all the time. But he does it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and weirdly enough, same thing that Bill Maher does, because he sleeps with black women.
This is what I said. The same argument we used against gay people. You should do your homework because
it was wrong then. It's right now. That's perfectly
no. Homosexuality was called a disorder. It was a psychological disorder.
Maybe it is. I feel pretty disordered.
Well, maybe you are.
Maybe it is.
But most homosexuals are not.
You know what? No, I think most gays have a long road actually. Most gays have a long road to coming to terms with their sexuality, and
because of the way society treats them.
No, of course it isn't. Don't be ridiculous.
No, of course it's the way society treats them. If society said we're fine with gay people and it's 1890, you think in 1990 people are going to have
You're being very obtuse. If I can't produce a child for the person I love, if I can't produce a child...
All I know is this. I have one quick question. I'm not a journalist, and I may just be an old spy, but you were talking about confusion. Were we talking about you?
What?
Because you sound very confused. You were talking about people being confused about their sexuality, their position in the world.
No,
I've been to Port Said in Naples, and you look like you've been there a few times. But because you seem to be very confused about who you are and what you are.
Pulling the wallet out, sweetheart.
Yeah, that's all right, shipmate.
No, I'm
okay.
Sadie, you always have to fight with everybody.
I don't. We were having such a nice time, but you always invite such awful people on your show. They're so stupid. No, come on. You need to start inviting higher IQ guests, or this is going to be a disaster.
First of all, wait.
These are very.
And now this is my favorite part here is where Larry Wilmore just goes off.
So good.
You can go fuck yourself, all right?
Yeah.
Jack, because
if this is the face of the
your
Nazis,
argument is that these people are stupid, you didn't hear a word this man said early in this segment, because he can talk circles around your pathetic, douchey little ass from England. And one last thing, and I'll let you defend it. Leslie Jones is not very literate. Go fuck yourself again for that one.
Read her Twitter feed. She can barely spell.
She is a very thoughtful person and very funny.
No.
So, again, Larry Wilmore coming to the defense of two people of color. While Bill Maher and the white guys on here just sit there and laugh because they think it's funny. And you hear it's just... This is the thing. This is what white people need to deal with. That's what I'm putting down.
Yeah, this is my first time yesterday or last night was my first time actually seeing and hearing Milo speak, and it just all seems like an act. Yeah, it all seemed like an act. None of it felt genuine. Like, you know, we've watched this hatred from people. I've had conversations in person with people who believe some of this nonsense. I've seen other people, pop up on news stations. But this whole Milo thing, it just feels like an act. It feels like it's an act he knows that sells, right? A gay white man who dates black men, but it believes all of this sort of alt-right nonsense and sort of traffics in a lot of some of this super ultra conservative stuff, but is also, this thing that they wouldn't even want to be around. Yeah, I think it's an act because it draws people's attention. Because like, how do these two things work together? Like, how do these things even fuse? And how does a gay person, a gay male, even believe some of this stuff? And it gets people to sort of peek in and see what's going on. And there's money in that, right? So if enough people peek in, then enough people will buy your books, enough people will come see you speak, enough people will put you on television. It all just seemed like an act. Like, that was my takeaway from watching Milo. Like, oh, this is an act, and I really hope people stop putting Milo on television and stop interviewing him.
Yeah, well, this is the new thing. Like, this is the new thing for white men now, is to use social media to be a troll. Like, let's be honest with what Milo is. He is a troll. He has built a career being a troll and spewing troll shit. He has no intellectual background. He has no facts to back it up. He is literally just that guy. He's the male, a gay version of Tammy Lauren, who comes out there and says, I'm not confused to say her real name, fucking name, but it's just, they come out and they say this shit and they get a following of other like-minded trolls, and then they build the thing up. Like, nothing he says, like you said, it feels like an act because he knows there's nothing past the surface. It's the same thing with Donald Trump. Like, there's nothing past the surface. They're all of them are Captain Kirks. They've made it this far off the back and actual work of other people, then either take it for themselves or ignore it and get apparently Milo's going to speak at CPAC, which is just fucking ridiculous. As anti-gay as the Republican Party is, they're now going to use this gay man who is a Trump fan. They're going to use him to say, "Oh, we're not anti-gay. Look, we like Milo," because he's every other form of bigotry that you guys have, and he doesn't give a fuck about any of that shit because it puts money in his pocket. I don't know what gay people call their version of coons, but that's what Milo is. He'll sell them out if it means putting money in his own fucking pocket. Like, he's found a way to be successful being awful. And it takes no work. It takes no work to be a white guy and be awful and be successful. And that's what he's done.
Here's the thing. You get to be awful and be successful.
Exactly.
Right? You get to be Miley Cyrus and do all this crazy stuff and then just quietly just be on The Voice. Mm-hmm. Just completely change your act, be on The Voice, and be a judge and be on television every week, right? You get to do that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, Beyonce gets scrutinized for her pregnancy pics,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
She can't even post her pregnancy pictures without getting the wrath of people who are complaining about how it makes them feel, right? So part of the elevation of whiteness in our country is the ability. They've allowed the ability for mediocrity and complete utter nonsense to be profitable for them and not profitable for anybody else. Somehow their opinion has to be heard. Look, it deserves some sort of platform to be listened to because, of course, it is because this white person saying it, and that doesn't exist for everybody else.
I want you guys to remember something. We talk about Michael Flynn resigning and why he resigned. We talk about some of the Stephen Miller out here and some of the things that these people believed and said. Steve Bannon, Kellyanne Conway, all the things that happened. Right. I'm about to read an article from 2009, September 2009. Van Jones resigns amid controversy. The White House is an unusual pre-dawn announcement. In an unusual pre-dawn announcement Sunday, said its green job czar Van Jones would resign after fierce criticism from Republicans about some of his statements and associations prior to joining the administration. While the job itself is not that high profile, special advisor on green jobs, Jones departed from the position the first real scalp claimed by the Republican right, which stoked so much of the controversy of Jones. Jones was under fire for his past affiliation with the 9/11 conspiracy truthers and for calling Republicans assholes in a video before he was appointed to the Obama administration. Republicans had also begun using him to escalate criticism of administration's deployment of czars across policy landscape, saying that they were being used to avoid Senate scrutiny of appointees. Mm-hmm. I want you guys to think about what this happened with Van Jones and the problems that was there and what we've seen from Trump's administration and why those people won't resign and what's happened here.
Exactly.
And Van Jones resigned because it was like this was right before the healthcare debate, and they didn't want this being in there. So,
wow,
yeah,
I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, that's where Van Jones came from. Like I remember, like he was always. I mean, not saying that was his start, but Van Jones was there. But I remember the reason why he got the national name was because he used to be in the Obama administration. He was brought in, and yeah, and they attacked him for this, and the right attacked him for this, and he got resigned for this. Now I want you to look at what happened with that, and this is for a job. Green jobs czar.
Right.
Didn't fucking matter. Compare that to some of the positions that we have controversies for people in cabinet level positions. Cabinet level positions actually doing work. Just wanted to throw that out there as a reminder that this is what we get versus somebody like Milo who's going to speak at CPAC. And I'm just saying, this is the bullshit. The bullshit we deal with.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. It is that time for Great Moments in White Privilege.
Oh, yes.
Great Moments in White Privilege. Just to let you guys know, I'm going to start bringing back the Whiteness Project Roulette, too. Not going to do it this week, maybe not next week, but I think maybe in March we're coming back with Whiteness Project Roulette just because I miss playing that.
It's one of my favorite segments because the people are so ridiculous.
Yeah, and I miss playing that segment, so we're going to go back to that. But anyway, Great Moments of White Privilege, Susan Sarandon confronted about President Trump by Chris Hayes. Yeah, you guys remember Susan Sarandon was one of the people that was like, last year she made headlines for suggesting she might not support the eventual Democratic nominee. She was saying that there's a lot of people that Donald Trump is just as that Hillary Clinton is worse than Donald Trump. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she went on, and the reason why this is a great moment of white privilege is Susan Sarandon really went on and talked to Chris Hayes, and then thought that she didn't have to answer for the things she said. I feel like that talking about blaming people for what happened is really wasting your time and energy. Because what we have to do now, what we have now is a populace that is awake.
Okay.
This is, again, black women were already awake. You ignorant, dumb, privileged white woman. There are a bunch of other people that are awake before you. What you're now like, it drives me crazy to see privileged white people talk about this shit like as if they're in the same boat that we're gonna be in. You're not. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it takes Donald Trump for you to awaken tells me how fucking privileged you are. It goes back to what we were saying before about people saying that the country's so divided now. It's like, where have you fucking been?
Right, exactly.
She went on to say Trump is so clumsy and so bad at putting policy together that now everyone is awake. She says she is not in favor of a revolution. I love this part. She says she is not in favor of a revolution brought on by Trump's misdeeds, instead of the one that we could have had with Sanders in office. To the people that would attack her for her statement, she said, "Really, that's where we want to spend our time and energy?" So let me get this straight. So now that Trump's in office, you're not for a real revolution.
Mm-hmm.
But you want the Bernie Sanders revolution, which is not a revolution, by the way.
Yeah, it's not a revolution.
It's not.
You said this multiple times, and it's not.
It's not a revolution. It's just not, because
it's a lot of really big ideas.
Well, not even just the big ideas. It's just like it doesn't address the things that you think it addresses. Like it doesn't address racial inequality. It doesn't address discrimination. It doesn't address all these things. It's not like, because here's the thing. I didn't vote third party, and I'm not going to vote third party in a presidential election until they get their shit together. There are actual radical third party candidates out there. Bernie Sanders is not radical. Like, nothing in his platform was radical. It wasn't. Like, it wasn't. It wasn't revolutionary. There are other third parties out there that are radical, that are revolutionary, that do the thing that Susan Sarandon claims to want. Bernie Sanders wasn't that. So you don't want a revolution. You just want the old hair white guy, because that to you revolution. Sarandon sat stone-faced when Hayes pointed out that the status quo she feared may have gotten much, much worse. First, he said that the head of Exxon is the Secretary of State. Could you look me in the eye, both of you, I guess there was somebody else there at the table with her, and say, yes, 24 days into the Trump administration, this is what I expected it would be. A better question might be, do you really think Hillary Clinton would have been worse? What is the point of even saying that? Sarandon shot back. Instead of answering him, she challenged the host to look her in the eye and said that he was doing his job to cover these issues completely.
She's a mess. What's wrong with saying, you know what, I was wrong?
Well,
I was wrong about it.
You know what's wrong with it is? And I said this, is like, Susan Sarandon, not only is a great woman of white privilege, she represents white feminism. Peak white feminism. And so many white women come in, oh, no, she doesn't represent. No, she does. Because white feminism is Susan Sarandon, where you only care when it affects you, or you find a pet project. Like, the thing with Susan Sarandon's pet project is Dakota Access Pipeline.
Right.
That is her pet project. So anything on her activism is all centered, focused on that. If it's not that, then she can't be fucking bothered with it. And that is so peak white feminism, because, like, the rest of us don't have the privilege to only focus on one issue. Like, right. I have to be against the Dakota Access Pipeline. I also have to look out for, immigrants being Muslims not being let into the country. I also have to worry about black women. I have to worry about black men. I have to worry about Asian women, diverse. Like, I have to worry about all this shit going on at once. I don't get to do like these privileged white women do, and sit around and go, oh, this is the issue. This is my one issue. This is what I'm going to focus on.
Yeah, it's like Scarlett Johansson said, she, thought gender was a bigger issue than race or something crazy like that.
Exactly. Like, when she talked about, when she was finally asked about the controversy of Ghost in the Shell, she goes, well, it's still a win for women because we get these roles. And I'm like, no, it's a win for white women because that's what's going on here, and you're not addressing the issue. Like, she was like, right. Oh, well, we don't get these. I'm like, the reason why you got Ghost in the Shell is because of Lucy was a blockbuster with a female lead. And when you got approached for it, you're gonna be like, no, you know what? Maybe we should like white women don't do that thing where they reach behind and help pull everybody else up. Black women do. When black women go out, intersectionality, and they pull everyone else up. They go, hey, listen, I'm here. Bring in black women, bring in Asian women, bring in Latino women, bring in these people, right? Bring in transgender women, bring in gay women, like bring in all these other communities in here to do that. White women don't do that. So when Jennifer Lawrence goes up and talks about the pay gap, She's talking about gender pay gap. She didn't talk about the fact that you as a white woman get paid more than your black woman, any black woman else out there too. You don't talk about that shit. You don't bring that shit up, you know? And you get to do that. And that's peak white feminism, where it only matters if it happens to you. Peak white feminism, the Women's March. Where, we got to come across all this stuff, and but we don't want to talk about these discrimination. We don't want to talk about this. You only want to talk about things that affect you. And when it gets beyond that, and even worse, when you're part of the problem and it requires you to change, you don't want to do that.
No.
You know?
You want it on your terms.
Mm-hmm. You know?
They want it on their terms, how they want to see it, and the issues that they care about. Anything outside of that, they can't be bothered with. It becomes divisive. It becomes too much. It becomes, you're not, this isn't what we should be focused on. You know, it becomes everything else other than, this is a legitimate issue. We should probably focus on this issue as well.
Yeah. I mean, I look, I had a long thing about this because I was like, again, I feel like I'm turning into that guy. Like the guy who hates white people. And I'm like, listen.
You don't. You just,
and I don't. And like I was telling,
you're frustrated like the rest of us.
And that's why I was that's why I said on Twitter, I was like, I need you guys to understand, like, because I'll bring this up, and if some white person comes in, well, not me, I'm not that white guy. I'm like, listen, I don't want to hear that right now, because like you're saying that, but even when you tweet that to me, when you tweet somebody, well, no, I'm a good ally, I don't do that. Like when you tweet that to me, you're trying to pat yourself out in the back for that shit. That's not how that works. It's like me going around and telling women, well, I'm not a rapist, and patting myself on the back for not being a rapist. Well, motherfucker, you shouldn't be a rapist. Like I don't give myself credit for treating women like equal. I don't give myself credit for not raping women. Why? Because, motherfucker, I shouldn't do that shit. Well, white people do that shit all the time. It's like, oh, no, I just, I have black friends, and I agree with everything you're saying there, because I follow you and I'm listening. I'm like, you're not listening because you're fucking tweeting me right now.
Here's the thing, right? Like, me not being a misogynist is a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what makes it impactful is when someone is being misogynist that I step up and say something.
Right.
All right. That's when it matters. Not that in my house by myself, in my own head, I'm not a misogynist. Right. But when I'm out and about and it's not like some stranger. It's always, for me, it's been like group chats.
It's people
group
you
chats
know.
with my friends.
Right. It's people
it's the homies. It's the homies. You got to be like, come on, man.
Right.
That's not.
Like, you gotta let them go, or you gotta stand up to it. It's like, you know, people like white people are like, well, why are you're making everything about racism? I'm like, yeah, because it has to be. Like, you guys want credit for doing what should have been done hundreds of years ago. It's like, oh wow, I'm an ally. Oh, well, motherfucker, you should be like, you're not an ally. Like, why are you telling me this? It's like, I feel the same way about men who call themselves feminists. I'm like, you shouldn't have to call yourself feminist. You should just be a man who doesn't treat women this way. Like, you don't need the label. And I feel like when you go out of your way to label yourself these things, you're doing it to try to pat yourself on the back or get some kind of credit for it. And you're trying to get a gold star for being a normal person. You're trying to get a gold star for being a good human being, which is, it should be a default.
Yeah. And you even said, like, people say you make everything about race, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's how we live. Like, I don't get to turn off my race at some point when I'm tired of dealing with it or tired of talking about it. I don't get to turn off my race and just relax and just have a moment to myself. We don't get to do that.
Look, man, it's hard. Like, I talked about this before. We went to the Logan screener, and I talked about this on Facebook. I wasn't going to talk about it on the show, and because I'm going to talk a little bit about it here. But Phenomenon went to the Logan screener, and there were a couple of points in the movie where we were laughing. We probably they weren't funny scenes, but to me and him, they were funny because they were just so overly acted and things like that. So when we leave the screener, we're usually asked what we thought about the movie and stuff like that. And the first thing we got is, I know you guys didn't like the movie, but, your laughing was really distracting to people. And we got complaints about it. And I'm just sitting there going, wait a minute, there have been other films where people have laughed, maybe at inappropriate times. I know Fences was one of them, with Viola Davis and the snot bubble. It was a powerful moment, but the snot bubble was getting some people laughing, right? It is what it is. You deal with it. And I'm like, it's not even that I hated the movie, but yeah, I laughed at that moment, and I didn't like it as much as maybe you did, but you didn't even ask me if I liked the movie. You just assumed I didn't. And the more and more I thought about it, and then we thought about it more, and then they had told us that there was some other critics that complained the more and more we thought about it, it was like, we don't think it was other critics. We think it was the people that confronted us. It was them. And in the back of my mind, I'm going, if I was white, would I have ever been stopped and asked about this? Would I ever been? And like, hey, maybe the answer is yes. But as a black person, I have that in the back of my mind all the fucking time. I had to live with this. So when people go, oh, you make everything about race, it's like, because it fucking has to be. Because you know what? So many times I've seen the double standard. I've lived the double standard. And so when you come over here to almost and we're talking about our frustration right now, because so many of us are frustrated right now, living in a country where white people, the majority of you all literally voted for Trump. You can talk about the 3 million votes more that Hillary Clinton got. You can do all this other fucking stuff. The fact of the matter is the majority of white people voted for Trump, period.
Yeah, period.
And you have to address that. Like, this is something that only white people can fix. I can't, as a black person, do anything about it. And it drives me crazy. And then you get people like Susan Sarandon who only want to focus on certain pet issues and not address their own fucking privilege. And think just because they, are promoting activism and doing this, that they're okay and that they're not also part of the fucking problem. No, you are. Like, it's just very, very, very frustrating for so many of us. It's frustrating to see so many people go, I'm trying to learn and listen and blah, blah, blah. All right, fine. The time for learning and listening is over. What are your actions?
And also as a black person, like within these communities, the community is like, I'm saying is as if like people who maybe lean more towards the left. Mm-hmm. It's impossible for us to fix because there's so many things that we're not going to be approached about, right? There's so many problematic things that white people say that they'll never say to us because they know they're problematic. So it happens in these smaller groups amongst white people, and those are the moments where people have to get up and say something.
Like, why is Bill Maher still a thing?
Yeah, right.
Like, I mean, it's simple things like that. Like, you all can make it so Bill Maher is not a thing anymore. You can make it so that Piers Morgan is not a thing anymore. But you guys haven't. So when you come to us and go, oh, well, I'm like, I don't want to hear any more about listening. I want to know what you're doing.
Right.
Again, I'll always talk, hey, safety pin box. That's a great start too. But at the same time, it's like, what else are you doing? Like, it's just very, very fucking frustrating to have people talk about how much I'm doing stuff. Like, I don't come on the air all the time and talk about something. Well, today, I went out and told a woman today that, hey, I'm not a rapist.
Exactly.
Can you imagine if guys did? Can you imagine if guys who aren't rapists and who aren't misogynists went around and did that, like and treated it like white people treat trying not to be racist and being allies, going up to women and going, hey women, hey ladies, I just want you to know, it's a safe space here. You guys can do whatever. Like, no, that would be creepy, right? Like, think about it. If you're a white woman and a random guy walks up to you and goes, I just want you to know, I'm learning and listening. And it's a safe space here. I'm not a rapist. You would think that guy was fucking crazy, and you probably think in your back of your mind, he's probably a rapist, right?
Probably, yeah.
So now imagine why you think that's different from a black person. Like, again, same thing with gay people. Oh, you're gay? Oh, I'm very big on the gay people thing, and I really believe in what you guys are doing here, and I'm supportive.
Right.
No, what? That's fucking weird. But that's what you guys do to black people when we talk about this. Like, I said this week, I was like, I'm tired of being the thread guy. I'm tired of going on to Twitter and ranting about things like this. I ranted about, I was supposed to be ranting about Old Man Logan and how much of a comic book series that shit sucked. But I ran into this whole Susan Sarandon thing, and I just went into this diatribe about, like, you guys do this all the fucking time. Like, you guys get in this little fucking bubble, and you don't, like, not only did she go on to Chris Hayes' show and say this shit, but then she was like, when confronted about other people, she started retweeting things like liberals are out of control for attacking Susan Sarandon, who's an activist. I'm like, you do realize a lot of people that are telling you that to get the fuck out of here are people of color, right? The same people that you're supposed to be so into helping are the same ones telling you need to shut the fuck up and listen and you're a fucking problem. So maybe that'd be like me as a guy. If I went on a speaking tour talking about how, I'm such a feminist and I do all this stuff, and but at the same time I had a bunch of women going, dude, you need to shut the fuck up and fall the fuck back. And I didn't listen to them. Right. I'd be called problematic. That's what's happening here. And I'm just fucking tired of that shit, man. Anyway. Yeah, man. Anyway, getting ready to end the show. Black woman shout out this week. Asia sent this to me. Makeup Mania. My goal for creating Makeup Mania is to bring together two of the things I'm most passionate about: beauty and mental health. As someone living with mental illness, I've noticed in a call to end stigma that we don't focus on people as a whole. Too often, when those who speak up about their own struggles are stuck in a position where it is that is all the general public will see. I want to show that we are multidimensional, have hobbies, careers, goals, and live outside of our diagnosis. I can be reached through email at asia@makeupmania. I think that's .com. I have to double check. I'll make sure that to get the email address, or my Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram pages at Makeup and Mania. So that's our Black Woman shout out for today. Do you have one?
I didn't have one. I should have had one prepared. I didn't have one.
No, it's no problem. Like I said, I always have people. I got if you email me, bwbusiness at mtrnetwork.net. Almost forgot which one. I couldn't remember if I was doing the movie trailer ones or the MTR Network one. bwbusiness at mtrnetwork.net. Email us your business, your links, whatever you want us to pitch. I also know we have somebody who's working on a show soon. That's going to be reaching out to some of you, the ladies that have submitted things to get you guys on and talk about that. Hopefully that'll happen next month, and we'll go from there. Yeah, man. Hey, we had a pretty good show today, man.
Yeah, it was always a fun show.
Yeah, I was gonna call this show "Eat the Cake and Eat the Meatloaf Anime," but then I remembered that it was Trump. Yeah, I don't know. It's either that or Trump is Captain Kirk. I haven't figured out which one I'm gonna call it. But
Trump is Captain Kirk is pretty good.
I know, man.
Pretty perfect analogy.
Yeah, man. I'm just I was sitting there at work. And I thought about it, and I was going to do a Twitter rant, and I was like, you know what, no, I'm going to save this for the show. Fuck that.
Yeah. I'll never watch Star Trek the same again.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, you watch Star Trek now, you're going to fucking see Trump as Captain Kirk, and it's going to drive you fucking insane, yo. Man, thank you very much. Tell folks where they can find you at, man.
They can find me on Twitter, People's Critic, on Instagram, Snapchat, my blog, peoplescriticblog.com. If you're, and I just, public service announcement, if you are a male, especially a black man, go to the hospital, go get checked up.
Yes.
Because you never know what's happening, man. I was thankful enough just to go on my own and figure out and be fine. But so if you're feeling sick, go.
Sorry. Yeah, definitely do that. And check yourself out, and you got to take care of yourself, man.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
Mentally and physically, got to do it. So, all right, folks. Again, mtrnetwork.net. Search for Insanity Check on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Just iTunes. If you want it on Stitcher, just search for MTR Network to get the entire feed there. And coming soon, next week will be our character corner on Wolverine. So you'll see why I'm so salty about Logan and all the movies, extra movies from there. So again, guys, thank you guys very much for listening. And until next time, we are out of here. Peace.